Welcome. It's Dad's Going Live. We're going back to Tucson, guys. So there's been not a whole lot of development on the Nancy Guthrie case, but there's a lot of new information. So the first thing is there is new video that we are being made aware of. Not brand new. We don't know when they recorded it or when they received it, but sometimes in Uber cars there is a camera inside of the car for the driver's safety. Sometimes some drivers will put a camera in the back seat, and then they'll also have a camera on the passengers in the back, and then they'll also have a camera on the driver. So when Nancy got that ride from her house to Annie's house, she took an Uber, and luckily that Uber had her on camera. So she is on camera being driven from her house to Annie and Tomaso's. Now is there video of her coming home? That I have not learned yet. I do not know that yet. There's also FBI profilers that claim there could have been up to 4 people helping this perp, helping the suspect at the house. I really think that this was not a solo job. I don't think that somebody did this all by themselves. Oops. I don't think this was a lone wolf. Anyways, my daughter's birthday was today. I kind of hung out, had some cake with her and stuff. You know, got to hang out with the wife and kids throughout the week. Had some good time. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Hello. Yay, bring Nancy home. I got the stickers in the car too. If you guys are on the way and I have to get gas somewhere and you're like 2 seconds away from the gas station, pull up. I got stickers for you. I'll give you a Dad's Gone Live or a Nancy sticker. They just had the cops called on them in front of Nancy's house for what? Why'd they call the cops on them? For what? What they call cops on him for? That's pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. Huh. Hello. Oh, Alex got into it with a neighbor. Oh, wow. I'll have to hear about it when I talk to him. Oh, wow. Karen went off on Alex. Wow. Oh, no. Hashtag bad Karen. Hashtag bad Karen. Bad Karen. How dare her? That's my boy Alex. Alex like a teddy bear, dude. Hey, Siri. Can you give me directions to Tucson? What? No, not Muscoy. Siri. Hey Siri, take me to Tucson, Arizona. Okay, Siri, hurry up. There we go. 8 hours and 6 minutes away. Here we go again. Same old drive again. Driving down the interstate. Nothing else has changed. We're back. I gotta, as long as I can come home on Friday, leave Friday morning. Should be in Tucson for about 7 days, 6 to 7 days. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Let's go. Bad Karen. Hashtag bad Karen. How dare you? What is Alex's channel? Criminal Network. Look up Criminal Network on YouTube. I believe he has a lot of viewers, like 1,700, which is amazing. He deserves it, and I hope it stays up for him like that. That's awesome. Hashtag bad Karen. Mark, Alex, and Juanita are all at the gas station right now. Nice. I'll let them handle the Karen. When people talk to me mean, I just need to keep quiet. I just need to be quiet. Thank you, thank you. We just got up the grapevine. By we, I mean I. Oh, he say we, and I'm like, wait, it's just me in the car. I'm used to being me and my dog. We are 8 hours and 4 minutes out, 543 miles. We should arrive shortly before 5 a.m. I might pull over and take a nap, and then live stream throughout the day, and then go to bed early tomorrow night. Not too sure yet. I also, guys, a lot of people were asking about pink t-shirts. Dad's gone live to t-shirts, but in pink. Well, if you are interested in them, my wife just updated the website. Guys, my wife just updated the website. We got black t-shirts and pink t-shirts. They're all in stock. We got black and pink, and they're all in stock. Holy cow. No need to scream. I'm sorry. Nice, Mike. Your stickers came in. That's awesome. It's heartbreaking to know that there's been so many people around the house. Around the Guthrie house? You don't see the police at Nancy's. Okay. I will have to ask Alex about what happened. I'm gonna tell him, how dare you? My daughter just turned 6 today. 6 years old. Is Shark my uncle? Ah. Need gas money? No, I'm not asking for any money. We're just gonna go. Karen started the fight and then called the cops on the streamers. Ah. Hilarious. I wonder if she got a drunk in public. Nope. I don't think I ever said I'm not going back to Tucson. We are going back to Tucson. I haven't said that yet. We're going back. We're going to do boots on the ground. Now, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be anything breaking out there. I can go out there and get absolutely nothing. But I would like to go out there, do our thing where we search some random dirt roads and then kind of hang out around Nancy's house. Maybe do the morning shift in the afternoon. Morning shift at Nancy's, watch the sun come up over there. And then in the afternoon, take off. Then go look down dirt roads and stuff. I don't know yet. I haven't got that far. But I don't think we're going to be doing night coverage. I don't think we're doing night coverage at all. Well, how dare that Karen? We'll have to talk with Karen. I'm going to say, excuse me. Hi, my name is Tom Hanks. Nah. I need to redo how I react with people when they're being grumpy. Because sometimes I'm a jerk, man. I can be a hothead. But a lot of people can. Some people are better at it, some people are worse. I'll probably be one of the ones that sometimes is worse. But I don't get physical. I try not to cuss people out. Alex and Juanita are cool. Are good. An Airbnb with a pool. Oh man, that sounds nice. I don't think I'm staying anywhere near that fancy. Alex had an interesting night. Oh, you had surgery? I'm so sorry. Hope you're okay. I'll keep you in my prayers for quick healing and recovery. And thank you so much for stopping by. We do appreciate it. So, what do you guys want to do more? We're going to monitor, I think we're going to monitor scanner calls from the house. And then in the afternoon when it's hotter, possibly take the truck out, go down dirt roads, or chase leads where you guys think there might be FBI coverage, FBI stuff, you know, random stuff like that. Kind of interested. What do you guys want to do? What Karen is it? Is it the one that's been messing with people? That was on JLR too? Is it the same Karen or no? Also, what do you guys think about Nanos and his brand new Corvette? Pretty nice, huh? Have you guys seen Nanos in his... It looked like he was in a brand new white Corvette. Brand spanking new, man. That thing looked nice. He's doing pretty good, man. What do you guys think about Nanos and his new car? Oh, she just moved in a month ago. We're driving back to Tucson. We are driving back to Tucson, guys. JLR's back home. If I remember, if I'm correct, I believe JLR already went home. Wait. One of the neighbors wouldn't give up their camera footage? Are you serious? What kind of... Oh my god, are you serious? She's withholding camera footage from the FBI? She really said no to the camera footage? That's not good. On the left-hand side. Oh, okay. That house. I've been curious about that house. I've been curious about that house. So now she's being a grumpy neighbor. Well, I got the drone. We can see from the air if there's cameras. I don't know, man. A Karen that's worried about people being in her neighborhood would probably have cameras. I think so. I shouldn't be calling her a Karen. We'll say a grumpy dump. A grumpy dumpity. Grumpity dumpity. You know, like Humpty Dumpty fell and bumped his head. Well, she's a grumpy butt. She's a grumpy butt. Who would know her every move, the neighbor? I'd be like, yeah, man. Like, my neighbor was kidding. Like, I'm not giving you permission to quote unquote search my house, but I'm giving you permission to walk around the outside and see if you see any signs. Like, I would like to know if some bad guys that, you know, kidnapped this 84-year-old woman went through my property. I would like to know if there's any footprints back here, man. Maybe they touched something. There's some DNA. Maybe there's a bloody shirt. I don't know. I'd go search my property. My cameras? Oh man, I don't know if my cameras would reach that far, but dude, here's my phone. Go through my cameras. You cannot take my phone. You can only browse my camera feed, and you can send anything to yourself. That's what I would say. I would not give them any permission whatsoever to take my property, but I would give them permission to, quote unquote, look through my property. Not tear it apart, but look. Just put eyes on things. See if you see anything that looks funny to you, and that's it. You know, I'm not going to say, hey, yeah, you can come in my house and just go through the whole damn house. I'm going to tell you, nah, you need a damn search warrant. But if you want to look at my camera footage to see if it can help you solve a crime, bro, look at my footage. Download it and send it to yourself. I don't care. I ain't got nothing to hide when it comes to that. And I don't have nothing to hide inside my house. I just don't want a bunch of people going around inside my house. That's all. Aw, a friend of Nancy's rearranged the flowers and they look nice. That's so sweet. I'll put some flowers up when I get back. My favorite saying is, hey, do me a favor, man. Be respectful. Like, I get it. You might not like another streamer or something like that, but this ain't like other people's chats. Don't disrespect me by talking about other streamers in a bad way or anything like that. If you don't like that streamer, go to their chat and talk bad about them. Don't come to my chat, please. I don't care about who's a poop butt. Okay. If somebody else has problems going on, like, keep those problems over there. It's disrespectful when you bring problems about other streamers into my chat. Like, I want my chat to be different. It's not about having 100,000 viewers to me. It's about having quality viewers. And when you start bashing other streamers in my chat, man, it's disrespectful to me. It's my stream. I'm just asking you nicely. Ugh. Go to his chat. Do it on his. He has. Hey, look. Those people see your comments. Wait till they're live. I don't like seeing my name brought up in other people's chats. I don't think other people like that either, man. I'm just asking you nicely. Yeah, I don't like the drama. Take that drama out of here. Oh, light up lantern is hanging. Yeah, good vibes only, man. Good vibes only. If you want some drama, go watch the Kardashians. All day, every day on everybody's chat. Manhunt activated. Where is Nancy? So I'm kind of curious, where do you guys think that Nancy Guthrie is, or where do you think she was taken? Like, I'm on the wall. I don't know, those ransom notes to TMZ kind of makes me want to say, well, maybe she is in Mexico. Because, I mean, we all saw how easy it is to get in and out of Mexico, or in Mexico, but not coming back. Do you think she was deceased, like, within the first 24 hours? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me know. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I can't come up with a reason why they took Nancy. The ransom. I mean, proof of life. There's no proof of life. So I'm so on the wall. I'm on the flipping wall. A couple things I was thinking about. Like, if they're saying now it can be up to 4 people that did this to her, it was a group, then to me, it makes me think money motivation, or maybe a group getting back at the family. Or maybe somebody that would benefit financially very greatly told a group of people, hey, I'll pay you like 40% when I'm gonna make off this. You guys want $1 million? Here's $1 million. $250,000 a pop to split. Take her out, get rid of her, make it a mystery. Just a theory, just a thought. But then again, Sheriff Nanos, no Nanos. No Nanos. Sheriff Nanos, no Nanos. Said that their theory hasn't changed since the very beginning. Well, originally the theory was they were looking at the family. But then he comes back and says that the family's innocent. They've been cleared. So, one of those is a lie. You guys looked at the family because you had the theory, right? I don't know. But then again, why would you stick with one theory? You're supposed to have 1 million different theories and investigate it from every angle. That's my thought. And what do you guys think about the quote-unquote interview on Sheriff Nanos from 857? It seemed like Nanos wasn't too big on answering questions to the media. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm confused to say the least. Whatever. You think media related his note was sent to TMZ? See, that's the other thing. Like, you wouldn't want the note sent to the Today Show because that make it look like it was Savannah. So how do you make it look like it's not Savannah? Send it to the TMZ instead. Their competition. See what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just a whole lot of confusion to me. Whole lot of confusion. No Nanos. Hey, here's Six Flags Magic Mountain, man. I like Six Flags Magic Mountain. Sorry, there's a little bit of traffic right now. I'm not really trying to read too many comments. When it's kind of clear and I can look down for a sec, a lot of times I'll read them. I know, shame on me. Also, a lot of people were asking, do you need gas money? Well, I don't really want to. I'm not asking for help. If you guys want to help, I'm not going to stop you because it obviously helps, but I'm not going to ask for it. So, no, Nanos. If she's alive, I can't imagine the PTSD this. Dude, can you imagine actually? Like, just think about it though. Like, seriously, think about it. Can you imagine how bad that would be? Like, I'm 33 years old. I couldn't imagine. What's it like? It's been what, 48 days since she was taken? Morning of February 1st. 47, 48 days, somewhere in there. Or are we on day 47, day 48? March 20th. $47 days, 48, somewhere in there. Oh my gosh, dude. Hey, Tort Snacks for your passengers. Thank you, Janet. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna block certain streamers' words or name, because it's not about that streamer, man. It's about Nancy. It's about Nancy. This ain't about anybody else. It's about Nancy. If you want to make it about someone else, respectfully, make a video, make a YouTube video. Go do what you want to do. Damn, I thought I was getting pulled over, dude. I'm like, what did I do? He just came up out of nowhere. That car's not pulling over. Do we have a police chase? Dude! Look, he's trying to tail that car. What's he doing? He's trying to go after a car, dude. Where's he going? There's nobody pulling over for him. He's going after somebody or something. I don't know. Look, he's trying to get around all the traffic now. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Oh, he just followed a car off the off ramp. I don't know if that's a chase or. Yeah, look, there he goes off the. Oh, you can't see it now. See it out of my driver's side or my passenger side window. What the hell? Well, I guess if we don't chase the chases will chase us. going back. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's actually, in my opinion, there's a ton of traffic for right now. This is insane. Holy Toledo, Batman. Why is there so much traffic tonight? A lot of cars. It's 9:15 p.m. There's a lot of cars on the road. You guys hear the little baby turbo? My truck's in eco mode right now. I'm gonna try to, I guess I'm gonna try to be economical with a 5-gallon, $6 gas. Not looking forward to gas right now. Holy Toledo, Batman. Here we go. More traffic. What a great place to put road construction. Right in the middle of all the traffic. Let's go! Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I make my siren go off again? Whoa, Paulette. What the heck? Just came through with gas or food or both. Thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you. We got a new member on the YouTube side. Thank you so much for becoming a member. You need a refrigerator. I actually have an ice chest in the back. And it's full of ice and waters. Here comes Dad and the wee woos. So far, I think I just topped it off. It was like 90 bucks. And it's going to be about 3 tanks on the way out there. So I just topped it off at AM PM, and it was $90 for regular. Freaking ridiculous. 90. $4. I would love $4 a gallon gas in Philly. I'll trade you. You want to make a trade? Let's trade. I want $4 a gallon gas. Somebody was telling me tonight, just take your diesel in the trailer. I was like, bro, my diesel gets about 8 miles a gallon when I'm towing the trailer. Diesel's like $6.50 a gallon, almost $7. If you do the math on that, that is just under $1 a mile. That's almost like, it's like 80 cents a mile that I'll be driving, and that is totally not worth it. Well, that is not worth it whatsoever. Oh, I got rid of the big mouth, huh? Mods got rid of the trash. Good job, Mods. South Carolina's gas about $3.50 a gallon. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's not bad at all. You'll trade prices because in NorCal they're not better. Yeah, if you're in California or New York, just know you're getting screwed in the booty. Just know, California, New York, you know, you're getting screwed in the booty. They're going to stick it right to you. Say, ooh, screw me harder. Every time I get gas, the gas pump, every time I swipe my debit card at the gas pump, my debit card says, ooh, screw me harder. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Philly, thank you. Or Phyllis Fox, thank you. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it was like 99 cents for like 2 days one time. I was little. It was like 99 cents for like 2 days one time. Screw me harder. Hey, I gas pump one time. And I swiped my credit card. And the gas pump says, "Oh, give it to me, Dad. Give it to me, Daddy." So what the hell? Where the hell's gas pump, dude? So I went to a different one. Real story. I got gas. That was earlier today. Actually, that was when I was filling up earlier. I went to the gas pump. I swiped my credit card at the gas pump and said, "Oh, give it to me, Daddy." I said, "Give you what? All my money? Hell no." It was at Chevron, so I went across the street to AMPM where it was like $1 cheaper. Yeah. The candles? Oh, they still have the candles? Gas tax. Gas is tax free in Georgia. No, it was a debit card, but yeah. I went to another gas pump one time and it said, "Put your hands up. Stick it up." Yeah. That one was at a Shell. Paul said they threw all the candles away the first time. Well, that's messed up. Oh, you got the stickers? That's so awesome. I'm glad you got your stickers. Thank you for watching, and thanks for the support, and thank you for caring about Nancy. Hey, who knows? Maybe I can go to Walmart and buy a couple more candles while I'm out there. No, I'm not saying 857s. Stick them up. Give me all your money. Absolutely. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. Let me see how much further till I get to Tucson. 7.5 hours. We have 500 miles. 7.5 hours. I got 500 miles. 503. You have over 1,000 people blocked on YouTube. Holy cow. Yes, she wants to have her birthday party next weekend because that's when everyone can go. So she made the decision. She just like, you can have your birthday party whenever you want. So we gave her one of her small presents today, and she gets the rest in a week. Hey, that's what she wanted. She wants to open presents on her birthday party, not on her birthday. I'm very proud of her. Very proud of my daughter. Can we play the nap game? Sure, Doug. I'll go first. Oh, did I swerve while I was snoring? I'm sorry. Oh, you're good. I appreciate it though, Shelby. You're good. Scam labs, eh? Guys, I just had the craziest dream. Oh, I am in the truck. Never mind. There's Jim out there. You know, I haven't talked to Jim. I don't know. How's Jim doing? Their own versions of MacArthur Park that you can camp out for free. I have no idea. But unless I'm RV with a really good air conditioner, I don't think I want to go. Go away. Go home. Nothing to see or do. Thank you. I mean, there's 1,200 people watching that want to go. I don't know. What do you guys say? You guys want to go back to Tucson? Last time I asked, everyone said yes. Dad's in a silly mood. Wee woo. Yeah, I had to go home and recoup with my family for a little bit. Thank you. Jim will be coming back sometime next week. Nice, nice, nice. Hey, thank you so much. Does Ruger get along with the other small dog you showed on the live the other night? Well, yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, actually they do. They do pretty good. I mean, the small dog will start barking at Ruger like he's like trying to pick on him, and then Ruger will do is like at the dog. And as soon as Ruger barks back at him, that dog runs away. And you're like, what did Ruger do to him, dude? And you look at the camera like, oh, Ruger. I mean, really, Jimmy Dean? You're like all bark, and then he barks back, and you're crying, dude? Come on. We're going back to Tucson. Maybe we'll get an interview with the sheriff, too. I don't know. I don't know. That dog. Probably a fake account. You didn't receive your sticker yet, Jody? Did you win or something? Did you get an email saying that your sticker's been mailed out? Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? Yo, can I pet that dog? Hey, can I pet your dog? Can I pet that dog? Just got a shirt. Nice. Yeah, I think somebody bought a t-shirt and a sticker this morning, so whoever that was, thank you. Your dad's gonna live one, not the other one. Oh, the Gila monster. Yeah, Jody, I think that I have a screenshot of all the winners. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't look like you're on the winning list. I screenshotted every winner and I sent it to my wife. There was like 42 of them. Unless I picked you out. Did I pick you out at the live stream from the house the other night? I just want to know, can I pet that dog? Nanos must resign. You guys want Nanos to resign. You guys want Nanos to resign his duties. I don't think I think you might not be the only one. I'm just saying. And I want to know, can I pet that dog? You guys want me to pet that dog? Well, you know what, Jody? Go ahead and email me, dadsyonlive@gmail.com. Email me your address and just say Nancy sticker in the headline, Jody, and you'll be the last one to get one of them mailed out. We'll get that. We'll get it mailed out. Cola nanos. Recall nanos. Hashtag recall nanos. Hashtag recall nanos. Hey, I'm going back to Arizona just so I can sign the petition. Can I sign it if I'm not from there? How does that work? Isn't it like the mailmaster with the post office is the only one allowed to fire nanos or something like that? Grandma Ladybug, I don't think we have. If you can, re-email us. You know what? You're one. I do know for a fact that you're on the list that did not send their address. So if you can, send it one more time. dadsgonelive@gmail.com this time. Do that. dadsgonelive@gmail.com. So I can't, they won't let me sign because I'm not from Arizona? Hey, what if I don't show voter ID? Do they require voter ID? Hey, Yarn Angel, good to see you too. Nanos lives in a $850,000 home, drives a $70,000 Corvette. Interesting, interesting. Hey, thank you so much for becoming a member. Let's go. In 2021, his yearly salary was $100,000. That was 2021. What's his yearly salary now? I'm gonna look that up. I want to know, what does Sheriff Nanos make a year? Because it says that it's not, it wasn't released for this last year. They withheld that information. It's supposed to be public information, Nanos. How much you make, brother? You don't own the sheriff's department. You work for the people. It's the public's right to know what you make. What do we pay you? Or what does your county pay you? How much money do your taxpayers pay towards your salary? I want to know. Nanos? Kind of curious, bud. No, Nanos. No. How much is your net worth? What's Nanos' net worth, guys? I'm actually curious about these things. What is Nanos worth? Driving around a brand new Corvette, $70,000 Corvette. Come on, dude. Are you getting a little kick down from somewhere else? Maybe some embezzlement? Or you're not doing that, are you? I hope not. That's what makes me think when I hear someone makes $100,000 a year and they live in an $850,000 home. Oh, we're gonna buff. We're gonna buffer. Buff daddy, buff daddy, buff daddy, buff. Girls, subscribe to my OnlyFans. Ruger off. I don't know if you guys heard that. I just gave you guys the code for my OnlyFans. While I was buffering just now, I gave you guys the 100% discount code for my OnlyFans. Don't ask. Let's go. Oh, did you guys hear what I said then? Oh, you guys heard that the whole time, huh? Oh, fudge. Damn it. Well, this is awkward. I just had 2 signups for a 100% discount. Oh, he gets paid for the TV show too, huh? Well, if you're a public figure, you shouldn't be allowed to be paid while you're on duty from another entity. I don't know. Hold on, we gotta get on over right here. 484 miles from Tucson, Arizona. Tucson. Oh, thank you. I'm your favorite. Oh, you're so sweet. You're my favorite too. Are you home yet? No. I just left home. In the last 2 months, I've spent more time away from home than I have at home. Well, in 2021, he made over 100,000, 100,200, something like that, just over 100,000. That was in 2021, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna buff daddy, buff daddy, buff daddy, buff. You guys ready to buff? Buff daddy. No, but really, Google says 2021, Nanos made $100,000. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe. Interesting. So I'll have to look up Sheriff Nanos' house on Zillow because that's all public information. I am kind of curious. Do not post his address. I don't want that public. Like, you guys can find it on your own, but you're not gonna. I don't want people to see it from my YouTube channel. Let's go! Someone ordered a t-shirt. Thank you, whoever ordered it. That's awesome. Thanks for the support. That is awesome. my focus is on Nancy. Yes. But who's the sheriff in charge of Nancy's case? Nanos. But I'm not saying he is, because I have no evidence of that. But what if you looked into Nanos and you're like, holy crap, this guy's worth like $10 million. And you're like, how in the world is Nanos worth $10 million? Well, you find that stuff out by investigating, doing your searches. So I'm going to be doing my searches. I want to know. Do not post anybody's address in the chat, please. I don't want that at all. Hey, can you guys tell the other viewers that if they cannot hear, back out and come back in? Let the other viewers know that if they cannot hear, to back out and come back in, please. Hey, somebody else just ordered a shirt. Let's go. Whoever just ordered that shirt, thank you so much for the support. Let's go. Yeah, perfect timing, but at least it's not the hopefully we get through Phoenix before the bad traffic. That's the goal. So, ETA, 7 hours, 475 miles, arrival, 4:46 in the morning. I'm all alone and I'm driving. Well, ETA is now 7 hours. 7 hours to go. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. You're such a sweetheart. Yeah, of course. I've never not respected the neighborhood. even when I was being a grumpy dumpy to that guy, I was like, I'm recording you just like you recorded me. I mean, I wasn't disrespectful. I just wasn't very nice. I guess I was respectful of the neighborhood. I think I was. I tried to. Go, go, Speed Racer! Yeah, well, Trump, if I remember correctly, the president waived, I don't care about politics, but the person that's president right now waived his earnings. He's donating his income to charity, which is, I thought that was pretty cool. And I don't want to get all political, guys. I don't care if you like the president. I don't care if you hate the president. I couldn't care. I care less. Yes, the guy I got into it with doesn't even live in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day to be a neighbor. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Yeah, the guy I got into it with doesn't even live in that neighborhood, dude. Even the neighbors are like, who the hell is that guy? He's not from here. Why is he running around? Like, we're the neighbors that live with you, man. Trump had Nancy. Your theory is Trump had Nancy kidnapped? Oh God, I mean, it's a theory, I guess. I mean, sure, dude. Dude, this guy is going under the speed limit in the fast lane. We're getting passed up by a tow truck. I'm gonna do it. Scary. Go back home, Cly baby. It's almost 10 o'clock, 9:50 p.m., 9:50, 9:50 p.m. Go home, Cly baby. You're such a Cly baby. Oh. Sorry that you're not on the live stream. Yeah, that lane. That was the carpool lane. Sorry. Don't give me a ticket, Ossifer. Oh, why would I say that? There's a cop behind me. Hey, what's up with this guy behind me with the red and blue lights, man? He's got his lights on, dude. He's like tailgating me with his red and blue flashers, dude. Nah, bro. Now he's on the horn saying pull over. He ain't talking to me. I'm just kidding. Someone say, grow up. Yeah, you guys count as passengers. We got like 1,400 people. 1,400 passengers, man. It's pretty cool. I don't know. Someone say, grow up. I don't want it. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to. That's me. I don't think you're a crybaby, just immature. You're not saying nothing I haven't said. I'm immature as hell. I'm an immature man-child, dude. I'm like, are you just realizing this? My bad, Shorty. Yeah, we're in LA traffic, kind of. We're in like San Bernardino. What's up? No, guys, I haven't drank Red Bull since I was in Arizona last time. Remember when I had that migraine? And I didn't go live, I ended the live early? Yeah, I haven't had Red Bull since. Oh man, the tool got banned. Oh well. Thanks, Texas Angel. Appreciate you. Dad's gone crybaby. Okay. Yep, I was probably having bad blood pressure. No, yeah, I haven't drank Red Bull. Well, I was thinking I might need something to keep me awake on this trip, so I might get me some coffee. I'll drink coffee. No Red Bull, but coffee. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day for neighbor. I do plan on driving straight through. How many hours drive? About 8.5, almost 9. So I got 464 miles left. I got 6 hours and 50 minutes. I left shortly after 8, right around 8 o'clock. So I think maybe 8:30. Red Bull, let's go! Red Bull gives you heart issues. Actually, I don't know that, so I take that back. Don't sue me, Red Bull. I was just kidding. Red Bull gives you subs. I don't know that either. Place to stay. Sorry, Mons, my bad. Shorty, I'll sit in the corner. Ah, let's go. Oh, wow. Someone else just ordered a t-shirt. Hey, whoever just ordered a t-shirt, thank you so much for the support. That is freaking awesome. God bless you and thank you. Someone else just ordered some t-shirts. Thank you so much for the support, guys. absolutely. I call my wife, like, I'll probably be texting my wife or my mom several times throughout the trip. Rough day with the neighbor. Yeah, I bet the mods would love to mute Jacob. Probably not the only one. Longest I've ever driven straight through was about 24 hours. And I drove to Odessa, Texas. Or another time I drove to North Dakota. Or another time I drove from North Dakota to Texas. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'll have to talk to him. Hey, Rita, thank you so much for becoming a member. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. You missed me. I missed you too. I missed all of you. Yes, I was a huge, huge fan of Chuck Norris. Oh, man. Yeah. I know nothing about NBC and Nancy's. Thank you. Yes, it is my daughter's birthday. Let's go. We're on the road again. On the road again. Nah, you guys don't want me to sing. I got my drone, yes. Rest in peace to Chuck Norris, guys. I'm gonna go home next Friday. I'm gonna be out there. I'll be gone for a week. Friday to Friday. I plan on being home on Friday. So 7 days. Yes, well, kinda. I got the scooter. I can take the scooter out now. Yeah, I probably won't find anything on Nancy, but it might as well be out there just in case something does, you know, improve. Something does happen. Whoa! Thank you so much for becoming a member. Let's go! Thank you. Thank you for that membership. Hey, good to see you again too. Let's go. Scooter gang, scooter gang. Turn around, smack the ground, ride your scooter gang. Yes, I got the scooter. I got a different type of phone mount for it. It's a little bent, but it's one that I used on my Harley. I've had it for years. I found it while I was back in town. Oh, he had a heart attack in Hawaii. That's horrible. That's sad. Oh, man. Chuck was like my hero, dude. In the eyes of a ranger. Walker, Texas Ranger. I grew up watching that, man. I love that show. Alex Cahill, Walker, Texas Ranger. There'll never be another Chuck Norris. Man was a legend. Never a dull moment with chicken. Let's go. Oh, I love Walker, Texas Ranger. I mean, that would have been one of the few like movie stars that I would have been like in shock if I ever met. Like, you know, like, oh, what the heck? What was that? That was really weird. On a happy note, it's spring, so it's gonna be 105 degrees in Tucson. It was my OnlyFans music. It was Chuck Norris, that's who did it. In honor of Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger. I might get copyrighted for this, but that's okay.
Of a ranger, the unsuspecting stranger had better know the truth of wrong from right. 'Cause the eyes of the ranger are upon you. Any wrong you do, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you, 'cause that's where the ranger's gonna be.
Rest in peace, Walker, Texas Ranger, aka Chuck Norris. I like how, like, Chuck Norris, like, Walker, Texas Ranger's theme song was actually Chuck Norris. That was pretty neat. See, I get it. Keep right unless overtaking, but it's California. It's a little bit different out here. In other parts of the country, it's law. Out here, the semi-trucks drive on the right, and the cars drive on the left. That's just how it is. It's California. And if you're that guy that stays in the right lane unless you're overtaking, then you're going to get stuck in a traffic jam. time. Story time. All right. One of a scary story. We're going to tell you guys a scary story. So, this is not related to Nancy. This is in California. You guys want a story time? We're going back to Tucson to provide coverage for the Nancy Guthrie case. What's happening, honestly, it's not really much. But, I mean, it's what people want to watch. It's what people want to see. So, I might as well provide it for the viewers. What's going on with the Nancy Guthrie case? Honestly, not a whole lot. We're going to probably hang out in the morning at her house. And then in the afternoon when it's hot, go back to the truck and go drive down dirt roads looking for any signs, kind of check out the area. What do you guys think? Yes, Alex is back in Tucson. No, it does not have javelinas on it. Like the time where there was a javelina making noise right behind me and I got scared. Yeah. Story time. Anytime you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the Rangers be. Because it's hot outside. When I'm going down dirt roads looking around, I can have AC. In the morning, I'll be in front of Nancy's house. I don't know, I just thought I could do it any other way around too. What about the time I fell out of the chair in front of Nancy's house and landed on a cactus? Got cactus spikes in my back. I guess you don't want to respond, you don't have to. I don't know what you said. D. Oh, why not do that early? Because I'd rather sit out when it's cooler than sit out when it's hot. Right? I think Sue Ellen is a nice one. I do believe that Sue Ellen is the nice one. Anytime you're in Texas, look behind you. Because that's where the Rangers are going to be. The guy on the motorcycle was on his cell phone, dude. Or unless he's got it mounted. Alright, so it wasn't Sue Ellen, it was a different lady. They're saying the Karen lady, Karen, the grumpy neighbor. I had cactus butt. Cactus butt, cactus butt. Turn around, fall on the ground, smack the butt. Got cactus butt. That was dumb. Yeah, that was a dumb song. Oh crap, this is still carpool. Yeah, the carpool lane. Go, Speed Racer. Oh wow, they eat prickly pear without being infected by the thorns. That's pretty neat. Yes, Alex is Criminal Network. He's also one of my really good friends. He's like one of my close buddies. You know what? I have not heard anything from Novacity at all. I tried calling him. I messaged him again on Wednesday. Says he was active yesterday. I just messaged him again right now. I said, Nov, are you alive? I'm sure he's alive. So it says he was active yesterday. Thank you for going back and continue search for Nancy. For Nancy and Answers. I appreciate you and know it must be hard to be away from family. Please get a coffee or a drink. I will, and thank you so much for that. Trust me, I will. I'm going to give you a coffee at the next stop. I'm also going to give you something to drink. Texas. what happened? You had a bad night? What happened? You okay? So much pain tonight. I'm here for the drive to AZ. I appreciate you rolling with. Oh, I feel you there. I feel you there. Trust me, I really do. I completely feel you there. This case, I literally have dreams about this case. I'm legit obsessed with it. I'm not up to date on every new little thing that comes out every single day, because I'm trying to make an effort not to listen to all the different YouTubers and only check on Brian Enton when it sounds like he has some actual good information. But or I'm trying to catch up on mainstream stuff. I don't want to follow YouTubers, even though I'm a YouTuber myself. Yes, I get you, I really do, trust me. Literally have dreams about this case. Oh yeah, Alex, he's a stoner, he smokes. Smokes Mary Jane. Sweet Mary Jane. Bum, bum, bum. I get it. Not everyone smokes Mary Jane or respects it, and that's okay. Me, I ain't got no problem with that. I don't really care. Don't bother me none, brother. I agree. I like how Alex is. Dude, really, bro? You're gonna go slower than the speed limit and get in front of me. Come on. Come on, man. California drivers are the best. Are we buffering? Just over here, buffering. Looking at the road washing under my wheels. Yeah, we're on the road again. You know what? That's very true, Texas Angel. That's why I'm going back, because you never know when a tip or a lead may randomly just come in and might actually break the case. Someone might be like, hey, I actually have dash cam video that I didn't know about that I finally found, and I got this car shoving this lady down in the back seat, and it has a license plate. Oh, wow, that's going to break the case. Oh, hey, I got my neighbor on camera loading something up. Oh, wow, that's going to break the case. You know, you never know. Like the Chris Watts guy, they broke the case with him because they got him loading up his wife wrapped in like a bag or a carpet or something and leaving at a random time. Loading his deceased wife in the back of their car and then him putting the kids in the front. You felt so much safer when I was in Arizona and you live in Texas. And I don't want to go to no casino. I ain't never had no good luck there, let me tell you what. Woke up in a new Bugatti. I thought this was going to crack open in the first 2 weeks. I didn't think it was going to go past anywhere past. I didn't think it was going to go past 2 weeks at all. Hey, that guy's giving me thumbs up, dude. Hell yeah, brother. I wonder if that guy knows I'm a YouTuber. Shout out. Missed you. Boots on the ground. Yes, boots on the ground, cameras on the road. Let's go! He's watching the live stream, dude. Hey, email me, dadsgonelive@gmail.com, bro. Guy in the truck, email me, dadsgonelive@gmail.com. Email me, dadsgonelive@gmail.com. I will send you some stickers in the mail, bro. Oh, dude, that's cool. Let's go! That was a viewer. That was a viewer. They're watching the live stream right now. That's cool. I've been called a DGL groupie. Let's go! Do you advertise on your truck? I do not. I do not advertise my truck. I don't have anything on my truck that says Dad's Gone Live. That's so cool, dude. I love it. I love it. Who found the pants and knee brace and other items? I believe that was Jim. I think Jim found it. Does my daughter think I'm cool? think Daddy's cool? I don't know. I would like to think my daughter thinks I'm cool. But I don't know. I could not tell you. Jim is coming back. Let's go, Jim. Exploring with Jim, my brother from another mother. So you're on the potty? Okay. That's interesting. Saw an article today that deputies found a grave. It was a grave that I found. Please stop yelling. I'm sorry. I'm so here. I can do this. I've been live streaming for like 4 years, and almost every live stream I've ever done, I've had the scanners going, so it's just a habit. Not bad, Shody. What's my favorite cuss word? Melody. That's my favorite cuss word. Can I pet that dog? You don't know who's yelling? Have I ever gone to King of the Hammers? Yes. I think this was like the first year I didn't go. This was the first year I didn't go. Damn, dog, you hurting. I don't think I'm hurting. Hurting them ears because I'm yelling? Nah, Melody, I don't know what my favorite cuss word is. Probably shit. Oh, chit. Oh, chit. I'm just kidding. You're not my favorite cuss word. You're my favorite viewer. Of course you are. You're awesome. One of my favorite viewers. Every viewer is my favorite viewer though, so that's kind of not fair to say. DGL, what's up, what's up? What's up, George? Hear your truck. You want to hear my truck? Alright. Let's see, can I get the turbo to go? No. I don't want to do it right now. I gotta put it in sport mode. It's an eco. Sport mode pumps it up a little bit, just a little bit. Hey, thank you so much, Pear. Here, let's see. I'll speed up right here. You kind of hear it. Now I'm gonna have cops pulling up behind me because I just hit like 100. Now I'm going 75. ETA is 421 miles, 6 hours, 11 minutes. Time to arrive is 4:42 a.m. Got a long drive ahead of us. Yeah, thankfully our chat's not too busy. I've been grateful for that. Mean sounding truck. Hey, it's a Toyota Tacoma. I bought it. Nope, it's doing the thing on the map. It's a 2025 Toyota Tacoma. I bought it brand new last year in November. It's got a turbocharged little 4-cylinder thingy-majigger and pumps out almost 300 horsepower. 4-wheel drive, has a factory TRD off-road lift kit thing on it. That's okay. Jim's renting an Airbnb this trip. Nice, nice. You're trying to stay with me for the ride? There we go. There we go. I hope you guys stay with me. Keep me awake. If I fall asleep, just flick me in the ear. Wake me right up. Anyways, I want to listen to some things about Nancy. Safe, dear Jacob. Thank you so much. I gotta go get some gas. I'm down to half a tank. I don't like running low like that. I don't like running down below half. All right, if you guys want to see how much people care about Nancy, you can look at the chat right now after everyone puts a yellow heart. If you guys care about Nancy, put a yellow heart in the chat. For those of you guys that are curious to see how many viewers actually care about Nancy, you'll find out right now. Eastbound and down. Actually, I was going to ask you guys too. What is everyone's favorite type of music? Hey, thank you so much for giving that membership, Pearl. Thank you. Want the money? Hell yeah, I want the money. I want to buy a Black Hawk helicopter so we can search the desert for Nancy. Aw, Sandra just came through 20 bucks for gas. Thank you so much, Sandra. But hell yeah, I want like $10 million. I want to go buy a Black Hawk helicopter, hire a pilot, fill up the fuel tank, and I want to go fly some grid searches. I literally emailed Diesel Dave, asking Diesel Dave, like the Diesel Brothers, Heavy D Sparks. I emailed Heavy D Sparks from the Diesel Brothers. I emailed him, curious if he was willing to go search for Nancy. Black Hawk helicopter. It's like a military helicopter. That's great. Yeah, I don't want to rent one. I want to buy one. Or I'm gonna buy one someday. Someday I'm gonna get like $10 million, bro. Right now, I'm just gonna live stream. Someday. I mean, if someone told you they didn't want money to do, they're lying. Of course. I want to buy a Black Hawk helicopter, but the reasons is different than what most people's reasons are. I want to go on search parties. I want to try to help people. bring the brodozer to Arizona. Yeah, I'll get a Chinook so I can carry my truck in it. A Chinook. I'll drive the Chinook. I'll fly the Chinook, put my truck in the back. Do you know how to fly? No. Not yet. I mean, I can learn. I'll be in the helicopter. Ooh, what does this button do? Oh, what does that joystick do? And then all the alarms start going off.
Tips have come in from the public. Some have come in anonymously. News 4 Tucson's Eric Fink gives us a look at how the community from near and far has helped with clues and leads in this investigation.
In this building behind me, 88 crime operators continue to answer calls from people with tips on the case. The reward for Nancy Guthrie's return sits right now at more than $1 million, and while much of that money was put up by the Guthrie family, there's a man who lives more than 1,800 miles from Tucson who put up a reward of his own.
We need that one person to come in with the right tip to solve the crime.
Michael Hupy is a personal injury lawyer, not from Tucson, but from Wisconsin. He's also the president of the Milwaukee chapter of Crime Stoppers. Hupy put up $100,000 of his own money to help convince someone who knows something to come forward. But why does a lawyer in Wisconsin want to help in the Nancy Guthrie case?
She's an 84-year-old woman. He's in ill health. He needs to take prescription medicine every day. He has a heart pacemaker. And I wasn't happy with the way the investigation was going.
Back on February 24th, after 24 days of agony.
Worrying about her, fearing for her, aching for her, and most of all, just missing her. Missing her.
Savannah posted on Instagram her family offering a $1 million reward for information leading to the recovery of their mom.
If you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign to please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home. Please be the light in the dark.
In this dark time, thousands of people have called and emailed the authorities with tips. More than 25,000 have come into the FBI. In a statement, the FBI says, quote, every tip is reviewed for credibility, relevance, and information that can be acted upon by law enforcement. All tips submitted to tips.fbi.gov or called into 1-800-CALL-FBI are examined by threat intake examiners at the National Threat Operations Center to determine appropriate dissemination. Here in southern Arizona, more than 2,400 tips have already come through 88 crime, where you can remain anonymous. That number far surpassing the normal monthly total.
During the course of a month, our 88 crime system will receive approximately 200 to 250 tips about all matters. And so during the time of the investigation, we've received nearly 10 times that amount just for this one case.
Back in Wisconsin, Michael Hupy continues to hope for that call. That tip that changes the nature of this case.
Money makes people talk. I've given 25, I've given 50,000 to solve the murder of small children, and people come with money if there's money available.
The Guthrie family knows they are not alone in their suffering. There are millions of families suffering the same kind of uncertainty. That's why they have donated $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for their work helping families cope and looking for the lost. They encourage you to do the same. Reporting from downtown, I'm Eric
right on that.
Fink, News 4 Tucson.
I'll go donate $500,000.
And as the investigation continues on, both the FBI and PCSD still looking for more to help solve this case. And you see right there, those are the tip lines you can contact if you have information. And folks, please join us tomorrow night at 6:30 for an in-depth look at the case. Our special program, Bring Her Home, the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. In it, we share a new family statement from the Guthrie family, a message that they've asked us to send to everyone here in Tucson.
Here, this is News Nation. We'll play News Nation
Stunning
real quick.
claim that could change everything in the Nancy Guthrie case. A former SWAT team leader now says, despite months of investigation, that the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office have no suspects. Chad Ayers says this is from a source who is, quote, boots on the ground in Arizona. Ayers made this claim during an appearance on the Megyn Kelly podcast show. And we want to be clear, News Nation hasn't independently verified that information. But here's why it's so significant. Just last night, Brian Enton reported the FBI was back in Nancy's Tucson neighborhood, knocking on doors, asking neighbors who moved out, zeroing in on a home under construction a street over, tracking down every crew that had worked there. They appear to be tightening the timeline, running down leads. It looked like progress, right? But if this new claim is true, where does that leave the investigation right now? Will Nancy Guthrie's case ever be solved? I want to go to the man behind that claim, my friend Chad Ayers, former SWAT team member and sheriff's deputy who's worked undercover in federal and state investigations. Chad, always good to see you. Just real quick, you feel confident in your source? And can you give any indication about how this person would know this?
Yeah, Jesse, I do want to maintain the integrity of the source and the investigation. I will tell you that this person is, I would just be broad that says they are in that area and are affiliated with the investigation.
If that is true, okay, no suspects. Are investigators starting from scratch? How do you square that away versus all the information I talked about happening last night?
No, I mean, that's a great question, Jesse. I think what's important is just because there is no suspects, and I mentioned this before, doesn't mean there's no leads. Obviously, the Pima County Sheriff's Office, the FBI tip line has received thousands and thousands of tips that they are still working through. And this takes time. And in a day and age where we are so used to getting information immediately, this can be frustrating, especially to viewers and the American people that want answers immediately. But that's just unfortunately not how these investigations play out. They take time. And I get it, this is a high profile case and we're going on a month and a half of Nancy being missing. But just because there's no suspect, the FBI is just going to continue to go off the leads that they receive. And keep in mind too, Jesse, it's important that a lot of this, data and technology that they are using and some of the doorbells and footages is still being processed and coming in from Google. So it takes some time.
And the genetic genealogy, right? The family tree, find potential suspects on the forensic material found in the house. That takes time. So in other words, it's not abnormal that there might not be suspects. You also reported on Megyn Kelly's show that the family members all passed polygraphs with flying colors. I'm going to ask you something because I know people online and people who've been following this case will say it immediately after I said that. Is it possible for people to beat a polygraph? Or can we say we rule the family out and we take the sheriff's word and Pima County Sheriff's Office for their word that there's nothing else here with the polygraph?
Well, let me start by saying again that my source was very adamant that the family is not involved. Now, back to the polygraph. Can polygraphs be beat? Yeah, the polygraphs can be beat. A lot goes down, and I think there's some misconceptions of what a polygraph is. They're often referred to as like a lie detector. That's not really the case. What a polygraph does for the viewers is it's really analyzing physiological responses to the question. So the actual exam, Jesse, doesn't mean a lot. It's really the beforehand and how they answer, and then looking at those physiological responses. So when you go in to take a polygraph, you or I sit down. I've taken numerous polygraphs, in my career for hiring and other high profile cases that I was, being read into, and you're sitting on a sensor. You've got a blood pressure cuff attached to you. You've got sensors on your fingers that are monitoring like sweat. You've got devices around above your heart, below your heart that's monitoring your breathing, your heart rate. So it is difficult, and a good polygraph examiner can pick up on people trying to beat the game and to beat the test.
Chad, we got about 20 seconds. Is this case going to get solved in your professional opinion?
Yes, I do believe that this case will be solved. I think that with time, and I've said this early on, I think what you said early on, Jesse, that genealogy testing, once we get this into a database, that some of the other DNA located on scene into a database, I feel confident we're going to get a resolution soon. The family deserves it.
They definitely do,
Whoa.
and it has helped solve a lot of cases in recent history, by the way. So
sure has.
Hopefully that's what's going to happen. Chad Ayers, thank you for coming on. Thank you for explaining it. Thank you for giving your perspective. Love having you on. I got to have you on back. Good seeing you, my friend.
We'll see you soon, Jesse. Thanks.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
I hate how they do that at the end.
Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at what's happening right now.
Here's another
The
one.
dog behind Nancy Guthrie's home goes crazy at 2 a.m.
You can't hide a vehicle.
For Nancy Guthrie, it is a white vehicle.
Regarding medical records, that's going to be a tough one to get past.
Doesn't seem to bother him in the least bit.
Day 47 brings a critical breakthrough in the missing person investigation. Federal agents have zeroed in on a silver sedan repeatedly spotted near the victim's neighborhood, a vehicle now central to the case. Investigators are exploring whether an abandoned property served as a staging area. This theory explains a crucial gap: no clear footage of anyone fleeing in a vehicle. A dog's unusual behavior at 2 a.m. suggests the suspect may have been hiding nearby, eliminating the need for immediate escape. Evidence collection has proven challenging. Outdoor casting methods failed to recover physical traces. Forensic teams have shifted to
this.
Hey everybody, it's Sean Mooney, and I wanted to take some time out to
advanced techniques.
That guy sucks. Let's see.
Breaking developments now in the baffling disappearance of an 84-year-old woman from her quiet Tucson home. Federal authorities have dramatically intensified their efforts as the case enters its 46th day, shifting from a routine missing person search to what increasingly looks like the hunt for a deliberate, long-planned predator. Investigators are zeroing in on a chilling series of pre-abduction sightings that have completely rewritten the story investigators thought they were chasing. The centerpiece of this pivot is a shadowy figure captured on neighborhood surveillance in the weeks leading up to the night she vanished. Security footage pulled from multiple angles.
No, it sounds like AI, dude. I don't like that. Let's listen to this one.
Welcome back. 24 minutes after the hour. There are new developments in the mysterious disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. News Nation has just learned that photos from all three security cameras at her home have been recovered. While authorities say nothing of note has been found so far, investigators are taking a closer look at the security gate on the door. News Nation senior correspondent Brian Enton has been on top of this case from the very start. Brian, good afternoon. What is the significance of Nancy's front door?
Yeah, first of all, it's good news that they're making progress with the other cameras, Nick. We've reported on that. Of course, they had the camera from the front door. Now they also have it from the back. But look at this. This is interesting. A lot of people didn't pick up on this. There's a security door in front of the front door. You know, it's got bars. A lot of people in the area have these security doors that go in front of the front door. It's almost like a screen door, but there's serious bars there. And I'm told they're specifically interested in it because when you think about it and you see the video from the suspect at the front door, it would be very, very difficult to break through that front security door, which is leading some law enforcement experts to believe that there may have already been someone inside the house with Nancy inside the house, and this may have been a second suspect, this one you see here, at the front door, getting ready for them to bring Nancy out the front door. Again, it's just a theory, it's something to think about, but the fact that there is that security door that was presumably locked would make it very difficult for someone to actually break in through the front door, Nick.
Oh, Brian, that is definitely something we had not picked up on before. What more are you hearing from Nancy?
Is there any confirmation that Nancy locked her door? Has the family said, yeah, she always kept her door locked? I can't even walk out my front door without turning around and the door's already locked because my wife locks it constantly. She's so paranoid, which is good. I'm not as paranoid. She is. I'm like, let him come in. My dog will rip him apart. You know? I don't know.
These neighbors about the FBI in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so the FBI has been back in the neighborhood the last several days, I am told, talking to the same neighbors again who live right near Nancy's house, but with some new questions. They're zeroing in on some dates that I hadn't heard before. We knew about January 11th. They wanted video from January 11th. They're now asking for video also from the weekend before Nancy went missing, which is interesting. Makes you wonder if they believe that this person may have cased the house, cased the neighborhood, and they seem to be specifically interested on weekends, which is also sort of standing out to me. You know, is it possible they think this person has a job during the week and was casing the house on the weekends? These are the kinds of questions that they've been asking the neighbors, Nick.
Brian, this is still so troubling. Have we heard anything more from the family?
No, we haven't heard much. I mean, Savannah Guthrie hasn't released another video. She's obviously back in New York City now. She hasn't been back on the Today Show, but she hasn't been in Arizona from what I've been told. In terms of her sister Annie, who lives just a couple of miles away, she also hasn't said anything publicly. The last time that we saw her and Savannah was several weeks ago when they actually went out and visited the house and went and visited this memorial that's in front of the house.
News Nation's Brian Enton with the very latest on the Nancy Guthrie case. Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you for
2 days ago. Oh, that was 24 hours ago, my bad.
We know that the FBI so much for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. Really appreciate all of your support. Today is day 47 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. It is Thursday. And I've been thinking a lot about, there's been so many theories out there about what happened to Nancy. And it's interesting, with Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, in his last interview he did, he said that they even have a theory that they've had for a while, but he wouldn't say what it was. There was some reporting weeks ago that the Sheriff's Department theory, the working theory, may have been a burglary gone wrong, though that's never been confirmed. And that's always a theory that I've had a hard time wrapping my mind around, because why would whoever did this take Nancy Guthrie away if this was just supposed to be a burglary? If something went wrong when they were in the house, why wouldn't they have just left Nancy there? I've never really been able to wrap my mind around that. And this episode is really interesting because it explains why this is likely not a burglary gone wrong, and why this is likely a targeted abduction. Granted, we don't know. We don't know the circumstances, obviously.
No, we don't.
But in this episode, I'm going to lay out for you everything we do know, and some of it starts to make a little more sense. I'm joined now by Morgan Wright, and I want to read your whole bio, Morgan, just because it's so impressive. CEO and founder of the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases, editor and host of Crime Reconstructed Substack and podcast, which I love your Substack, by the way. You're also a senior advisor in the U.S. State Department Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program, senior law enforcement advisor for the 2012 Republican National Convention. You taught behavioral analysis at the National Security Agency, spent a year teaching the FBI how to conduct internal investigations, and then for 18 years you were with state and local law enforcement as a state trooper and detective. So I think hopefully I hit the highlights there. And you were also in Tucson recently, so you know a lot about the Nancy Guthrie
Oh yeah,
case.
I want to correct. I taught them internet investigations, not internal. There is a whole different mindset when you say you taught internal investigations. So I was never internal affairs, just for the cops listening out there. Yeah.
Good to know. And you were in Tucson, was it a couple weeks ago?
Well, actually, no, it was when the raid went on, you and I were talking. So when they did that raid, it was just, I think, a couple weeks into it. So I was out there, as they say, with another network. But it was great because you had, and Brian, you know, too, that's one of the most important things you do, report on it from afar. One of the things that made you so effective. And look, let me tell you, even on these other networks, people were referencing your reporting because you were out there, you were in the midst of things, you were getting information. If you're not on the ground and you don't understand how the roads are, you don't understand how the community is, you don't understand how hard that desert is out there, it gives a whole different complexion to the reporting. So it was important to be out there. And with your reporting, it's important to actually be on the ground. I even followed when you drove into Mexico to show how easy it was to cross the border.
Yeah. And you're right. Unless you're there, it's such a unique kind of landscape, and Nancy's neighborhood is so unique. I wanted to start off asking you, though, the sheriff in his last interview said that they have a theory of what they think happened and say what it is. Okay. And you've been studying this case since the beginning, and like you said, you've been to Tucson. What is your working theory right now? I mean, some people have said burglary gone wrong. Other people think it's a kidnapping, maybe something related to Savannah Guthrie, a stalker. What's your working theory?
So one of the things I do on the Substack, but I walk people back, I don't have theory. What I have are hypothesis. And the reason I say that is, and I've seen this happen, and you've seen this happen too, Brian, I've seen this happen in big cases. It starts with, well, we have a theory, then a theory becomes what we know, and what we know becomes the narrative. And I will tell you the biggest failure of that, I was in D.C. in Northern Virginia, not only for 9/11, but the D.C. sniper. Okay. And the narrative was, it was a white panel van. Totally wrong. They got it all wrong. It was a blue Chevy Caprice. So the reason I say that is I test some theories, and I get that they might have a theory, but I think they confuse theory with hypothesis. Sometimes they get theory, but here's mine. And I wrote a Substack on this early on. And having investigated missing people, kidnappings, burglaries, robberies, homicides, when you look at this case, Brian, it's only one of two things. Either it's a burglary that went wrong, or it was never a burglary. And if it was a burglary gone wrong, then the biggest question you have to ask is what conditions existed inside the house to where somebody that was there to commit a property crime primarily decided it was less risky to kidnap somebody than it was to just flee. And then I think that's the thing where we're missing, which I know you'd love to get inside, so would I, that when the crime scene happened, what does it actually look like? What did the bed look like? Did it look like Nancy got out of bed versus was she dragged out of bed? That's the difference between a confrontation in the bedroom or somebody that gets up. So, I mean, here's the thing I boiled down to. Over time, I was saying the quiet parts out loud. I remember being on with you and Elizabeth Vargas. We were talking about this. I said, it's not at some point you have to realize it's not a missing person anymore. We have to realize Nancy was 84 years old, cardiac compromised. You violently confronted at 2 o'clock in the morning in your own home. We know it's violent because there was blood. Whether they said, well, she was taking Coumadin, doesn't matter. You still got blood, still forced out of your house. That's a violent confrontation. So my question was, I realized everybody said, hey, well, we want to, we're hoping for her return. I'm more of a pragmatist. It's like you have to be left brain, right brain. When you investigate stuff, you have to compartmentalize. I'm more like, I said, you need to treat this as a no-body homicide because it tells the public something different about what you're looking at and where you're looking for things. If I'm looking for a missing person, then if I'm up in the Catalina foothills or the Sonoran Desert there, I'm not looking for anything out of place. I'm just going, oh, this case is going on, but it's a missing person, as opposed to when we have a no-body homicide, we're looking for clandestine grave sites, open grave sites, concealed grave sites, things that when you're out walking in the foothills, you need to be looking for these kind of things. So yes. For me, over time, I've gone from initially, you say either was a burglary that got wrong or it was never a burglary. And if it was a targeted abduction, then you have to look at entry, control, and egress. And so over time, I've moved away from being on the fence, waiting for information to come out. But the longer it goes, Brian, I think if I were testing a hypothesis, the one I would be testing is a targeted abduction. Why? Because the tradecraft, just the sheer logistics, the mechanisms of control. When you target somebody for abduction, you have to have transportation, you have to have logistics, and it's going to take two people. I really believe, based on the evidence, and I've tested my own hypothesis, there had to be two people there for this to actually work. And how do I know that? Well, the one thing I'd love to have inside the house, Brian, that I don't have is access to see, was blood pooled inside the house? In other words, was she targeted? Was she restrained to where blood dripped down? Or did it come out of the house and right to a vehicle? Because we know there was a vehicle, because you've seen that the blood stopped. So long roundabout, but I wanted to give the foundation to say, the longer this goes on, the more it appears to be a targeted abduction. That, to me, it's a targeted abduction that went wrong. They were expecting her to survive. She didn't survive. And that's why, very quickly, that's why there's been this whole thing about TMZ and the ransom notes. I call those parasitic communications. I never believed those from the first day, because they don't have two things, either proprietary information or proof of life. So they didn't demonstrate that. And a third thing, no communication channel. So over time, I know nobody wants to hear it, but I'm an investigator. I'd love to say that there's hope out there, but in reality, this is a no-body homicide right now.
So you think targeted abduction? That's your hypothesis?
Yeah, I would say if I were going to test something and really start putting weight behind it and start tasking people to say, here's what I want you to go out and do, it's, okay, let's look at targeted abduction. Simply because we look at, there doesn't appear to be forced entry. I know you looked at the house,
I kind of agree with this,
but that's not unusual when you think of how often I can tell you, there's sometimes I've woken up in the morning, went to take the trash out, and I realized, holy cow, my garage door's open. I'm pretty security conscious. I've got my security camera. So what's the probability that Nancy went to bed that night like any other night, came home from her kids, maybe a little tired because she's 84, goes to sleep and just didn't lock a door? That's the opportunistic nature of a targeted abduction. Look, when I used to do search warrants with our tactical team and stuff, I said, don't kick down the door just because you can't. Try the door. Most of the time, Brian, the door was open. You didn't even have to kick it down. You could just walk in. You didn't have to kick the door. And so in this case, I'm thinking that I would have to examine the possibility, was a door open, and if so, that makes the issue of targeted abduction much easier to rationalize, because at some point, again, your behavior, you don't get better under stress. People don't shoot better under stress. People don't drive better under stress. People don't talk better under stress. So you have a fight or flight syndrome. So that person, if he was truly a burglar and they're only to take stuff, I would expect to see signs of theft, signs of burglary, not a staged crime scene. If it was a staged crime scene, Brian, I will tell you right now, my belief then, I would be leaning very heavily towards targeted abduction.
Yeah, I've always struggled with, if it was a burglary gone bad, why they would go through all the trouble to take Nancy away. Why wouldn't you just freak out and leave? And I've heard two different things from different detectives that not involved in the case, but former detectives who have said, some have said, oh, you would definitely just leave the body. You'd want to get away as quickly as possible. Others have said, oh, you'd want to take the body to get rid of the evidence. But I don't know. I never really, you're shaking your head, that never really made sense to me.
Now, I'll tell you, I had the chance to be trained by one of the original members of the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit, a guy named William T. Peters. I went through the course. And human behavior is actually fairly predictable. I'll give you a good example. When you look at terrorism cases and what terrorists do, friend, I remember I used to work with this New Scotland Yard, the Counterterrorism Command, SO-15. Two of my friends were involved in the 7705 train bombings and bus bombings in London. And those terrorists did the exact same thing the terrorists at Mumbai did, Lashkar-e-Taiba, the same thing that the 9/11 hijackers did. Broad target selections, initial reconnaissance, final target selection, rehearsals, actions on the objective, escape and exploit.
Thank you so much for becoming a member.
Escape and evasion. People go through these steps the same way. So that's why when we'll talk later too about there's a date that the FBI is interested in, there's a chance, a lot of these folks that are there to do certain kinds of crimes will reconnaissance a neighborhood, and they'll do it during the day. They'll do it when there's no, it's not unusual to see a car drive around. But it's unusual to see a car at 2 o'clock in the morning drive through in an area that's normally quiet. So human behavior is predictable, and so I don't lean towards a burglar, even though they would decide that violence in the home, it's less risky to take the body than it is to flee. Why? Because the minute you do that, Brian, you've increased your risk. This is why when they look at serial offenders, when they looked at serial killers like Gary Ridgway, actually a friend of mine, Dave Reichert, was the lead investigator on the Green River killers. And you look, they only go out a certain distance. That's why when you start looking at bodies, for example, Long Island, Gilgo Beach, Rex Sherman, you start looking at bodies and where they're placed. There's a thing called distance decay. You only go so far before that risk goes way up, too far up that it's too risky for that person, and so they start bringing it back in. That's the max distance they're going to go out. And so in this case, I look at human behavior and say, what happens under stress? It's fight or flight. That is the natural instinct we have. And that goes back to when we were cavemen and you got saber-toothed tigers. It's like, is that thing going to eat me or is it going to stomp me? I'm not going to stick around to find out. I'm going to leave. We can trace back how criminals act back to how we acted back when we were cavemen.
So if it's a targeted abduction, and I tend to agree with you about the TMZ letters, I just don't think they ever really made sense, and there was never proof of life from what we know, and there was never a real way to make contact or send real money. But if it was a targeted abduction, then what was the motive?
See, that's the part where the sheriff says they think they figured out the motive, which tells me, well, look, one thing I tell people to, I approach this, I learned a long time ago, Elon Musk is really smart. Elon Musk is also really rich because he's really smart. And when he found out a better way to build batteries, which was the use of first principles, deconstruct it, decompose it down to its structural elements, then rebuild it. So that's what I do with cases. It doesn't matter what you believe, it matters what must be true. For the sheriff's statement to be accurate, what must be true? They must have had information or evidence inside the house that indicated that this was a targeted abduction, or they received communication later that indicated this was targeted abduction. And in a case like this, I would say, Brian, that if it were, this is a hypothesis, if it's a targeted abduction, then what explains the lack of true communication? One hypothesis you test is that the victim died. There's nothing left to ransom. I mean, you might think, people go, well, you would do like the TMZ. No, look, you reach a certain point where that every time you have a contact with law enforcement, you increase the risk. You increase the risk of detection. It has been decades since somebody truly got away with kidnapping in the United States. The FBI has just got this down to an art form. People say, well, they can use crypto. A friend of mine, actually, I think I put him in touch with your network. A friend of mine's Dave Kennedy. Him and I actually testified for Congress. He came out of NSA. We talked about this. After 9/11, the abilities financially to track back things, even cryptocurrency, even things off the dark web, we've got those capabilities now. So it becomes very difficult to do that. And so I just look at this and I go, it's one of two.
Listen to the rest of this in the car when I hit the road again. On the road again. We're on the road again. It says exit now for fuel, so. Oh, I'll go right. There's fuel over here. Can you give me something to drink? Definitely thirsty. If you guys are in this area and you want a sticker, y'all can pull on up. If you're close to me right now, if you know where I'm at, pull up, give you a sticker. Got them in my backpack right here. I'll give you a Nancy sticker and a dad sticker. My dad's going live. Oh man, I had to get off for this road construction, bro. It's not very nice. You have to go potty. Well, shucks. I already did. That's why my seat's wet. Just kidding. Do you guys subscribe to my main YouTube channel, Dad's Gone Live? Do you guys subscribe to my main channel called Dad's Gone Live? DADS Go Live. We're on the road again. road again. I'm just kidding. I'll quit singing. We might buffer as we go up under the gas station right here. We'll see. I don't know yet. I'll let you guys know when we get there. Wow. All these cars are pulled in one way. Maybe I'll just back into this spot. It says do not enter? What the hell? Why can't I enter? I don't think it'll matter if I pull in that way. There's not even a line on that side, so I'll just back into it. No, maybe not. What is up with this crap? Thank you so much, Slurpee and Gummy Bears. Dude, what the hell, man? This is a weird gas station. I'm trying to park to where I can, like, have Starlink. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen here. I'm confused. Why are they all one way? Thank you so much for that super chat. Let's go. Okay, we're going to buffer as we go into the thing. Hold on, I'll be back. All right, I got me a slushy thingy. Got me a little coffee thingy. I got me all you guys in the back seat. Don't judge me. Threw away my trash. We listen and we don't judge.
Two things. In my hypothesis, either the sheriff has information or the sheriff's department has information we don't have, which was received after the crime was committed, or there's something at the scene which clearly indicates that this was a targeted abduction. And if it's a targeted abduction, then I think it's not a burglary gone wrong, it's a targeted abduction gone wrong, because the whole goal of an abduction is to get somebody you can ransom, and if she dies, then that's why I say treat it as a no-body homicide. We have to start looking for, in this case, I think, either open grave sites or concealed grave sites.
All right, guys, I want to introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode, Surfshark. I have that problem attempt. And you guys sites, it will. So go to Surfshark VPN to extra months of Surfshark VPN. And, this was going to be an abduction where they were going to ask for ransom and then things went wrong. But Savannah still put out those videos early on saying, we just want our mom back. Basically, either way, we just want closure. I mean, she kind of acknowledged that her mom might not be alive. Why, if you're the kidnapper, why not, or the abductor, why not say, okay, we can still get some money here. Let's get some money and return the body.
I go back to what I said. It is very difficult in this day and age with the FBI. A lot of people bag on the FBI about a lot of things. And look, we have our own jokes between law enforcement and the FBI. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, the people working the cases, the people out there on the front lines, all great people, the analysts, the FBI agents, they work really hard. But to your point, if I've just done a targeted kidnapping is a serious offense. But homicide is the highest level of offense you could commit, right? The murder, first-degree murder, and this would be felony murder, the death of somebody in the course of an inherently dangerous felony, and a dangerous felony is kidnapping. I'm looking at it, so there's another technique too, Brian. It's called winthropping. So winthropping is what the MI6, what the Scotland Yard used to do when they were engaged in operations against the IRA, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, which is now the Police Service of Northern Ireland. It was getting in the mind of the offender. Where would they hide their weapons? What would they do? And that was how they found these caches of weapons and stuff. So it's a technique we use in cold case homicides, no bodies, to say, what would the offender do? So I'm sitting here going, I'm thinking as the offender, this is a hypothesis. I've broken into a house. It was targeted kidnapping. I thought I was going to get money. Oops, she died. I got to get rid of the body. Why would I increase my risk by attempting to ransom or get money out of a body when I'm going to be charged with felony murder, which means I'll go to prison for the rest of my life? At some point, it's like a business. You go, I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to get rid of everything that ties me to this case, and just hope that it goes away. That's why I think we haven't seen any real verified communications. All of those TMZ things, none of those were verified. And I tell people, the reason these communications kept coming, Brian, think about watching sports on national television, any of the networks. When's the last time you saw a streaker on national TV? You don't. Why? Because it only encourages bad behavior. Every time they published one of these letters, it only encouraged that same person or another person to write another letter. Because why? Because they got their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. One thing that just from talking to people on the ground in Tucson, talking to some sources, and just what my gut told me, and I don't know why, but I always felt like, and I still feel like, whoever did this is not far away from Nancy's. Not necessarily in the neighborhood, but I just never got the sense that this person came from another state or something. And I may be totally wrong.
I don't think you are. And apologies. I know we're doing this kind of. My cat loves me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did I just see like a tail go by or something?
You did. I think she's gonna go lay on her. When I do my Substack, I do a daily update. When I do my Substack, I also have a camera up here, so I do my kitty cam. I let them see her over here.
Nice.
No, I'll tell you. Here's why I think that. This is why I think you're spot on. And this is what. But you have to look at behavior, right?
This is interesting.
That area out there. You've been out there, Brian. I mean, I think back to my college days when where you could do it when you were younger. You'd go out drinking and then stumble back to the fraternity or the residence hall. It was tough enough when the roads, and I grew up in Kansas where the roads were right angles. But at that out there, I said it's the equivalent of taking a bowl of spaghetti and turning it upside down. That's what the road plan looks like out there. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason. So you either need a navigation app or you have to have knowledge of that area. And the other thing too is, that is an area, and I also wrote another article too. It was about the egress analysis. How would you get out of there?
I loved that, by the way, what you did with that. That was so interesting.
Well, but that proves my point, right? So it's like when you look at, in fact, I'll tie it back to something the FBI did, the missing kids. The FBI, and this is something I got involved with 24 years ago. This was actually part of the work I was doing inside the intelligence community right after 9/11, because I looked at what the FBI was doing with it's called the Highway Serial Killer Initiative. They would find where bodies would dump and they would tie them. What they would find is that they were along major interstates, major routes, and so some of these ended up being then people involved in trucking, long haul trucking. When you look at some of the missing kids, so for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the friend of mine retired from the Marshals, John Clark, he became the executive director. I mapped out all of his cases for him. They had never seen a map at that time, and you know what? A lot of those cases where the children went missing were near major highways, major thoroughfares. So when you look at this, one of the reasons they did it though, because they did not have local knowledge of the area. So when you kidnap somebody and you dump somebody, you're going to go off the road again, windthropping. Where would I go? What would I do? That body's going to be not that far off the road, because what are you doing? You get back onto the interstate, or you get back onto that major thoroughfare so that you can leave the area. This tells me, when I look at everything that goes on around it, and I look at how comfortable that person was, how comfortable they were staying in that area from 147 till no later than 228. That is a lot of time. In this, the world of military, they go, that's a lot of time to be on the X. That guy was on the X for at least 40, if not 47 minutes. Because we know at 212, at least the sheriff's timeline, there's a sensor goes off inside the house, one of the cameras. 228, there's no ping between the Bluetooth pacemaker and the phone. But that's a 16-minute window. But Brian, that goes back to what I'm saying. If it was a burglary gone wrong and all you were in there with a burgle, think within 16 minutes, remember, your behavior doesn't get better with stress, it degrades with stress.
Do rewards typically
help? I have a problem. I'm okay. We're good. I had a brain freeze. Ow. Sorry. Sorry if that was a little exaggerative. That freaking hurt, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. I had a major brain freeze, guys. No, Alex is not in the car with me. Facebook. Oh, he's coming late. Oh my gosh, that was bad. That was horrible. Oh, dude, I was trying my hardest to keep my eyes open. That hurt so bad. All right, let's go back.
First timeline, there's a sensor goes off inside the house, one of the cameras. 228, there's no ping between the Bluetooth pacemaker and the phone. But that's a 16-minute window. But Brian, that goes back to what I'm saying. If it was a burglary gone wrong and all you were in there with a burgle, think within 16 minutes, remember, your behavior doesn't get better with stress, it degrades with stress. In 16 minutes or less, you have to figure out now, what am I going to do with the body? How are we going to get her out of here? Do I have somebody working with me? Where's the car positioned at? How do I get the car here? How do we get her loader in? Where are we going to take her? What are we going to do with her? You have to figure all of that out in 16 minutes, as opposed to somebody whose intent was a targeted abduction. They have that all worked out. That this is what they're prepared for. It's the same thing with the home invasion. Home invasion expect people to be there. That's why they come in armed. That's why they come in to do control. So to kind of circle right back to your point, I think somebody, because he said, oh, well,
GPS. I think
I just
42, 43 days.
The roads.
Yeah, the way you described it, like spaghetti. I mean, even I was there for, I think, 42, 43 days. And I went there every day to Nancy's house. And even in the end, I was still using my GPS. to get out of the neighborhood, at night especially, just because it was so dark. And I would even make wrong turns. I'm like, gosh, I've been here for over a month and I still can't figure out how to get to her house. Like it really is a very unique, and the ups and downs of the road, and it's so dark at night. Some of the houses look the same or are set off the street, so it would not be an easy place to get in and out of if you didn't know.
No.
Your Substack, where you described the different ways to get away, is there one that you think is probable here?
Well, one of the great things too about being down there is I have some friends, and one of them was a former Tucson police officer, went to Arizona DPS. One of them, I think she's done some stuff on your network too, Sergeant Betsy Brentner Smith.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've been all longtime friends, and they had local domain knowledge. They live in Marana, so we actually talked about that. And so if you were doing a targeted abduction or even leaving the scene, what are the chances? So we looked at. Very unlikely that they would go north because of the mountains in that range, based on the way the person was dressed and their need to get back to their area of operations. They're like a marauder, what we call a marauder. A marauder is somebody who operates out of a fixed base, goes out, ranges out, but comes back after that. And so they act more like a marauder, which means a marauder has to have a location, a base of operations. That base of operations, we think, was more likely towards South Tucson. Why? Because of the way the person was dressed, the way they carried the pistol. That carry they call down there, it's called a Mexican carry. And for those folks who think that, oh, that guy's just an amateur, folks, I will tell you, you talk to Dave Smith down there, you talk to Betsy, there are police officers who've been killed by gang members who carried their gun exactly like that. Why? Because it was easy.
Someone just emailed me that today. They said, look, it's called a Mexican, what did you call it?
A Mexican carry.
Someone just emailed me that today. Yeah. So what does that mean?
It just means that, look, when you've got all those clothing on, so it's like there are several ways you can carry a weapon. You can carry it in a holster, forward canted, but you have to reach back like this. There's things they call appendix carry, so you can carry it under your clothing like this, but it's right here in your appendix, so it's very easy to draw and pull out. But that's difficult to do when you're dressed like this person was. Like you say,
sorry about the
when I was down there, Brian, the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is Tucson, it gets hot during the summer, but during that time we were down there, it was cold at night. We had that rain that came in. It is cold. So this person is dressed up not only for disguise, but because it's cold. So it means if you're going to access a weapon with gloves and everything else on, you're going to carry it on the outside. And that's the other big misnomer people made. They looked at that. They said, oh, we're looking for a white holster. They failed to understand how infrared works, passive infrared. Passive infrared doesn't reflect color because it doesn't reflect, colors, lights in wavelengths. So that holster was not white. That holster was actually dark colored. And those are the things you look at. And plus, the mismatch of it too, Brian. People say, well, he was semi-automatic and a revolver holster. So, I mean, the only thing that proves is that he had a mismatched holster. It doesn't prove capability, doesn't prove intent, doesn't prove that wasn't intentional, that he didn't carry it that way. He may also have a revolver, and that's the one holster they have. So, I mean, and actually, a friend of mine is the senior director for Walmart for corporate security. I actually called and talked about the holster and the backpack and everything else, and it's like, well, and Brian, and one other quick thing too, that backpack, a lot of people worried about buying it in Tucson, but Walmart is a global corporation. There are a lot of places right across the border called Walmart where you can buy similar stuff at. That was kind of hard to source, but when you bring it all together, I think that person is local, they've got local knowledge, and if they don't live there, they're from there, and they know the area. When you have gangs, like when you have the gangs that would invade and use, we'll talk about Wi-Fi jammers, but you'd have these South American gangs come in. They're a gang, they're great. You see 3 or 4 people operating. We only see one person for sure in this, but I think there has to be 2 because of the blood coming out to the curb and the vehicle leaving. But this person is comfortable, they're familiar, they were in no hurry because I think they weren't concerned about being caught.
Interesting. When you think about technology, like right when this happened, I mean, I just assumed it was going to get solved in a week, especially when President Trump started talking about it and Kash Patel. And I just thought, once you have the resources of the FBI and that kind of pressure, and I guess I just always had this, maybe it's not this thought that that the FBI could kind of see anything if they really wanted to when it comes to geofencing and satellites. And I just thought there's no way they're not going to be able to figure out who this is. And then they got the pictures right away off of the Google Nest Cam, which the sheriff had said would be impossible. So do you think they've tapped into all that technology at this point and this person just got really lucky?
So that's an interesting question. So there's a couple things to dive into. One is behavior. How does a person behave? How do they act? If this is somebody who has done this before, in other words, if I wanted to ensure that I had the lowest possible digital profile, I would take nothing digital with me. I mean, I've got an Apple Watch here. I've got an Apple phone. In fact, when you go into what they call SCIS, secure compartmented information facilities, these things have to come off. Your phone has to stay there. They're all capable of being tracked. They're all capable of transmitting. And so when I look at that, I go, if this person had done this before, or this was their intent, and they had at least some element of tradecraft, there's a chance that they would have minimized and mitigated their risk by leaving anything digital. And then the second thing is then how do you do communications? Folks, you can go down to, well, it used to be called Radio Shack, but you can go down to Walmart, you can buy a little handheld walkie-talkie, short range, get you enough distance, that's not going to show up on anything. So then there's two things you can do with the phone. There's cell site location information, but that's carrier dependent. So if you got a Verizon phone, I'm not going to get anything from AT&T or T-Mobile. If you got AT&T, vice versa. However, there's a second thing, and this is one of the other technologies I work with. It's called AdTech. I work with folks called Fog Data and Fog Data Science, and we actually work with state and local law enforcement, the federal government, but it's called AdTech. And so on this same phone, while this is like an AT&T phone, but if you run an app on your phone, like I run News Nation app, or if I run Waze, or if I run anything else, that ad data, when you download that phone, you agree, that end user license agreement, you agree that, hey, I'm going to allow you to collect certain pieces of data. And with Google, it's everything. It's location. Apple's more concerned about privacy. They don't resell your data, but Google resells a lot of this. But all of these apps on here, they're collecting information. They're collecting location information. They're collecting usage information, the type of phone you're on. And this stuff gets sold then to data aggregators. And that data aggregators, they sell this information to folks like Fog Data or Ventel. And this is called AdTech. So it doesn't matter now. It's irrelevant of the platform. It's about the app. And that app will show signals, places where they connect. So when I took a look at that, I actually have I drew a map around that. I drew a radius around that. That is a very dark spot in terms of radio transmission, radio signals. I got little to nothing from a AdTech standpoint. And I tried to look on these egress routes. Okay, look, where would it be?
So what do you mean? Sorry, explain that a little more. When you said you drew a map and you got little to nothing, what do you mean?
So I put a pin in the house, put a pin on the map where Nancy's house is, and then I drew a 1 mile radius around that, looking for any signals during that time. And I was generous. I went from 9 o'clock at night till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Signals from phones?
Yep. Okay. From this AdTech, from your mobile apps.
Okay.
So, and because you don't need a warrant for this, you don't need a subpoena for this. You get this because you buy it, because when you download the app and put it on your phone, you agree to share that information with the app provider. So I was moderating a panel one time for MIT, and we were talking about data and intelligence and collection stuff. And I had a panel. I had NSA lawyers on their former stuff, but I simply asked the audience. I said, "Who do you fear more, the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI, or Facebook, Google, and Amazon?" And without a doubt, it was Facebook, Google, and Amazon. Our intelligence community, FBI, would salivates at the amount of information these folks collect that they can't legally collect. So it goes back to your point. Can the FBI do a lot of stuff? They can, but they're also constrained by law. They're constrained by subpoenas. This is obviously not a FISA type of case, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, so they can't use the section 702 that they can with other stuff to get national security letters. And so I think that's why you're seeing them going out and asking for additional stuff. When I say it's a dark area, very little signals. I mean, I got 3 or 4 signals and none from Nancy's house, which is unusual. I had people double check me and triple check me. We had no signals coming out of Nancy's house during that time, even a 24-hour period. So if it's not there from an AdTech standpoint, I will tell you from a cellular standpoint, it's going to be kind of just as difficult, because that's kind of a weird area. There's just not great signal in some of those places. So we want to think that these folks know, but we used to have a joke when I was doing work at Justice and some intel stuff. It's like, if the public only knew, Brian. They think they get all this stuff. Well, if the public only knew, it's not as... The stuff that they got from the Nest camera, that's black magic. I think, I mean, for them to recover that in zettabytes worth of information, that's black magic. And that's to kudos to the FBI for doing that. But everything else, Brian, the fact... So I bring it back to this. The fact that we have so little information to go on tells me that whoever did this mitigated their risk digitally and electronically to the standpoint of where there's very little to go on at this point. And that indicates planning, preparation, and experience.
And they may know a lot more behind the scenes, especially like you said, they definitely know what the inside of the house looked like, things we don't know, that whether things were disturbed. But my sense is that they don't know a ton more than we know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that, like with Koberger, we later found out they knew a ton and they were racing him and they were doing genetic genealogy and there was a whole thing that was going on that no one knew about. I just don't get that feeling in this case, especially with them revisiting the same houses again and again now, asking the same questions and some new questions. But, you know, I interviewed Steve Moore yesterday, who's a retired FBI agent. He made a really good analogy because I was like, why do they keep going back to the same houses and asking varying questions? He's like, well, it's like if you lose your keys at your house, you can't find your car keys in your house. First, you look in all the places that you normally leave them. Like you look on your desk, you look on your bedside. If they're not there, you go to the next level. If they're not there, then you're suddenly digging through your comforter. So it was his feeling that, you know, they may not know a ton, and that's why we're seeing some of this. I mean, what do you think?
You know, I think back some of the cases we worked on, sometimes when you had to go back with the second search warrant because as you did interviews or as you got additional evidence, it indicated stuff. The other thing, too, is in that house, they probably had consent to search. You'd have to verify that, and maybe you know. You can get a search warrant, but you can also get consent to search. With the consent to search, that allows you into everything. I mean, you're not restricted. When you serve a search warrant, you're restricted by the scope of the search warrant. In other words, if I'm looking for a stolen automobile, I can't be looking in your dresser drawers. However, if I say I'm looking for stolen automobile parts, that greatly expands the scope of my search warrant. So they may be finding things that redirect their interest. And here's the other reason why too. Look, folks, people, time, money, they're all finite. You can only put so many people on a case. There's only so much time a day to work a case. There's only so many leads you can follow. And what happens is, as you do this stuff, as you develop information, it may be that so-and-so kind of is on the periphery of our radar, but they don't really mean much. But then we get another piece of information, or I get a digital evidence that says, hey, they were in the area. Now I have a reason to go back and revisit that person or revisit that location. So they could be finding things that says maybe they've, you know, Brian, like you say, we don't know everything, but maybe they're tracking a car, and one of the things they're tracking on the car is they have some information based on maybe digital cell site stuff that they were in a certain road or in a certain area at a certain time. That's why they're going back to look for that to say, do you see anything? It's entirely consistent that some people who commit these types of crimes do prior reconnaissance. As I said, the terrorists did it, terrorist planning cycle. The people who did 9/11, the people who did Mumbai, Lashkar-e-Taiba, the people who did, you name your terrorists, the London train bombings. People are creatures of habit. It's like broad target selection, initial reconnaissance, final target selection, final reconnaissance, rehearsals, actions on the objective, escape and evasion. It's entirely consistent that somebody doing this would have been out there beforehand. You know why? Because that house is not going to move. It's not going to change locations. It's always going to be there. The brush is going to be the same, the scrub brush, the sagebrush. Are there any street lights, anything like that? There's so much hardscape out there that is not going to change. You could do reconnaissance 6 months in advance and not have anything fundamentally change. So they may have something, but the other thing too, it's just due diligence, right? When you run out of something, you say, okay, I think back to the Boston Marathon bombers. They had an initial perimeter set up. They thought they were contained inside there. They weren't. They got that homeowner that came out, and what did they do? They had to expand their containment, their perimeter, and then they converged on that boat. Their initial perimeter was wrong. They thought they were inside the perimeter. So you deal with that all the time. So I don't know that I read it too much into it, but I do agree with you, though. At some point, you can tell where they're doing things to check the box just to say we did those, as opposed to we have a hot lead, we got something, you know, we're tasking people. A lot of the stuff you can also tell, I can tell too, it's like watching cop shows, I can tell when somebody's been when a real cop has told them how to wear their weapons and wear their uniform versus some Hollywood guy. You can tell by this sense of urgency when you see them out there. If they've just got clipboards and they're getting out of their up and knocking on doors, that's follow-up. There's not an urgent sense of urgency behind that. I mean, it's something they need to get done, but it's not like, man, we're going to bring 4 teams of detectives out and start knocking on doors all at once because we have a hot lead. So you look at their actions, and if they're not excited, I don't usually get excited.
You don't feel, yeah.
Okay.
Just lastly, Morgan.
This is interesting.
And I'm kind of asking you to look into a crystal ball here. We obviously don't know. I believe this will be solved. I mean, I don't get the sense it's going to be tomorrow, but like you said, I mean, these things don't typically go unsolved. But is there something you think that's going to solve it? Do you think it's going to be DNA in the end? Do you think it's going to be someone wanting the reward? If you had to guess, what your hypothesis? What brings this all together in the end?
What's that reward up to now? It's over $1 million?
Over $1 million, yeah. Savannah Guthrie put up $1 million, and then I think the FBI put 100,000, and then there's another 100,000 from someplace else, something like that.
So, Brian, if 1.2 million doesn't move the needle, I don't think money's going to solve it at this point. If somebody knows now, or they've known, and the 1.2 million doesn't move the needle, I don't know that money will solve it. Will it be a lucky break? It could be a lucky break. It could be a traffic stop where something's developing that leads to that. I would lead you back to the case of Polly Kloss. When she was kidnapped by Richard Allen Davis, I think it was 96, 97. It took 72 days to find Polly Kloss, and it took them going through all of these things only to find that Richard Allen Davis had been stopped, or he was on the side of the road stuck. He was contacted by 2 sheriff's deputies. At that time, though, unfortunately, Polly was already dead. She was in the woods, already dead. But it took them 72 days to get back to that location, and it was just through hard work, grinding through it. Son of Sam, actually a friend of mine, Chuck Dowd, NYPD, his dad was one of the detectives that found the parking ticket that led to Sam Berkowitz, the son of Sam killings, or David Berkowitz, the son of Sam killing. A parking ticket on a taxi led them to this. Sometimes it's little stuff like that. Will it be forensic evidence? It could be. It all depends upon. The danger, though, is when people say we think we have the suspect's DNA, then pretty soon that becomes an assumption, becomes hardened, and it becomes this is our theory, and everybody starts repeating the narrative. It's like the white panel van with the DC Sniper when it was a blue Chevy Caprice. So I don't know what it will be. Like you say, with Kohlberger, they had investigative genetic genealogy, familial DNA. One of the cases, a young girl named April Tinsley was kidnapped, killed back in 1988. Her murder went unsolved for a long time until part of the evidence they had, the technology was there where they could get the DNA. In that case, when they did the investigative genetic genealogy, they were one step away. They had his brother's DNA, which led them directly to the suspect out there in Indiana. So sometimes it's a lucky break. There's an old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good. We're at the point now to where they need a lucky break to go their way. They're still going to do the hard work. They need to be prepared for the luck when it shows up. But I can't tell you what's going to solve it. But I can tell you that when that one break comes in, then all the other pieces, we will start figuring out why this doesn't make, uncertainty is okay, but it does not make sense right now. Why doesn't it make sense? It's like Jurassic Park. The way they got it to work is they had that missing DNA, so they fixed the missing DNA, right? And it made everything work. The problem was that missing DNA had unintended consequences. And that's what I'm careful about here. I don't want to insert something into there that has unintended consequences, but just to finalize the point, it's either going to be it's going to be it's going to be information, either information they find or information from a person, a tip. It's going to be forensic, or it's going to be something probably electronic. Like they were able to work the cell site location information, be able to. You think about Rex Sherman, the Long Island serial killer, Gilgo Beach. It took them a long time. He was using burner phones, and they still found him. But they found him because they went back and they looked at the information they had, and they took a look at it with fresh eyes, and they found something they should have followed up on that they hadn't really truly followed up on. That led to the break, that led to tracking him, and that's how they caught Rex Sherman.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be soon. Morgan, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
I really appreciate Morgan Wright for taking the time to talk with me. It's also, again, I said it when I was talking to him, but it's helpful that he was in Tucson, because you do kind of have to see where Nancy lives, get a lay of the land, to really have a sort of an appreciation for the area and what may have really happened. So I'll stay on it. Got a couple of other things that I'm digging into. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. Your support. Today is day 45 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, which is kind of crazy. It's now officially been about a month and a half since Nancy went missing on February 1st. A couple of new developments today that I've learned about. I have confirmed through sources that the FBI has been back in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood over the last 24 hours
this
or so.
Is the new video.
Going back to neighbors' houses.
Come on, y'all. This is the new video.
More questions. Some of the things
and this
that I know
video
that they're talking about is
it's 3 days old. This is a different video. It's 3 days old.
Nancy disappeared, and they have been asking more questions about that situation. Not to say that that has anything to do with what happened, but that is something that the FBI agents are asking about. And then also, and this I found to be particularly interesting, they are asking about, there's several houses that are under construction in the neighborhood, and they are asking specifically for names of contractors and workers who were working in the neighborhood on those houses, on those construction projects. And I'm talking about like specifics, like they want the names of all the contractors and workers who are working on those houses. And I saw the construction while I was there, just driving around. There are several houses under construction in the area. So that to me is an interesting new nugget that I just found out about today. So I'm going to discuss that and a couple of other new things that I learned about what's going on behind the scenes of the investigation with my friend and former FBI Special Agent Steve Moore. All right, Steve, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. I was thinking about you this morning because a few little sort of, I call them nuggets, have come out with the Nancy Guthrie case. The first thing is I'm back home in Florida, but I obviously made a lot of friends in the neighborhood and stuff. And one of the neighbors texted me this morning. She texted me early. She said, "I wanted to tell you that the FBI came over today, had some more questions about some things that I saw. They also called my friend who's building a house down the street from Nancy. They wanted to know all of the workers and contractors at that house. Leads me to the conclusion that they are no further along than day 2. That's just what she thought. But what I was interested in is they wanted to know all of the workers and contractors from a house that's being built down the street. What does that say to you?
Well, obviously it means they're retracing steps. And, I've used this analogy with you before. Say you can't find your car keys and you walk through the house or the apartment, you look for where you usually leave them, they're not there. Then you have to go back and you have to retrace and you have to say, hey, what pants were I wearing? Or where's my purse? Or whatever like that.
I always say that, where's my purse?
Second level. When you get down to the 3rd or 4th level, these are things you don't usually check, but you may start pulling cushions off beds or off couches, things like that, and you'll go in deeper and deeper and deeper. And so people say, why didn't the FBI do this already? Because the normal search yields your keys in about 20 seconds. The secondary search yields them in about 2 to 5 minutes. And if you start with undoing the couches or the couch cushions in your living room, you'll never get to the bedroom where the keys are. So they are now obviously to the point where they are pulling up cushions in the couch. And I think that would explain they are not actually at day 2, though I understand completely why it seems that way. They are where they would have been if all normal searches didn't work.
And just specifically with workers and contractors, like in my neighborhood right now, there's a lot of construction, and there's just an enormous amount of people that come in and out that are working on houses. And you can kind of, they are not people that I recognize from the neighborhood. They're usually in work trucks, they're in pickup trucks. Is there anything specific that stands out to you that they're looking at a house that's being built and trying to talk to all the workers involved? Does that stand out for a specific reason, or do you just think they're trying to cover everything?
No, it does stand out for one reason. I don't know if you're going to find this fascinating or not, but the theory of the crime is a big deal. The theory of the crime informs every other bit of investigation you do. And from the beginning, the theory of the crime has been that this was targeted, that this wasn't a random thing where somebody goes to a house, he doesn't know who he's going to find inside. He's thinking, I'll just get the usual cash in the underwear drawer and, you know, some jewelry, watches, something like that. But no, that's not what happened here, according to everything I've seen, and according by this investigation, that the FBI believes. They believe that this is targeted. So then you have to find out who would target it, you know, obviously going back to the beginning. But there are 2 or 3 areas. Did they target Nancy? Did they target Savannah? Did they target Annie? They targeted this residence for a specific purpose. I believe 100% they knew that Nancy Guthrie was on the other side of that door when they were trying to cover up the Ring camera. So this goes to the point that while the FBI may have changed their theory of why she was targeted, they have not for 1 minute changed their theory that she was targeted. And so to target somebody, you have to in some way, shape, or form come in contact with them.
And you think that leads back to why they're interested in a contractor from down the street?
Yeah, I would think so. And not necessarily that there's an indication that any of those contractors have done anything wrong or those workmen have done anything wrong. But they are people who would have very possibly come in contact with Nancy. And I think one of the main things that I would like to find out if they would let me in on the case is
thank you.
How ambulatory was she? How traveling was she? She had a car, but she didn't go to church at her local church.
So we have had a couple T-shirt orders tonight
with her, or she followed their online services for a church in New York that Savannah went to. So that leads me to believe that she didn't get out of the house as much. So then that complicates things because she doesn't come into contact with that many people. Did she walk every day? What if she walked past the construction site? There's lots of things like that.
Yeah, she used to walk, the neighbors told me. I think like years ago, there was actually a group of them that would all walk together, and she was part of that group. But I think it's been a while. I mean, I think her health has really been, even some of the neighbors told me like they were kind of worried about her sometimes, like they didn't see her coming out of the house as much, that kind of thing.
Right. And so then that would lead one to believe that maybe it was somebody who came into the house, or came to her house, or, this kind of thing happens. I mean, you've probably seen this kind of thing where you get a door knock and somebody says, "Hey, I'm cutting trees down the block," and I thought, while I'm here, I can give you a deal and cut some of your trees.
Night, Blue Eyes.
Or do you need a gardener or anything like that? She doesn't have to get out necessarily for somebody to door knock her.
Thanks for
and
watching.
so
I appreciate
what
you.
I would be interested in combination with this is any solicitors that came by any of the houses in the neighborhood in the weeks beforehand.
Yeah, and I know most contractors and people working on houses are just doing their jobs and it's not like they're bad people normally, obviously.
Yeah,
actually, someone emailed me the other day because I was talking about contractors and said, we're contractors, me and my husband, and you gave us a bad rap. Obviously, most of them are good, but it does make sense. Those are, like, I was just thinking back to my neighborhood, those are really the outsiders that come in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they are. And frequently to the person who contacted you about contractors, I'll agree 100%. I am not casting aspersions on contractors, but there are people who come into neighborhoods specifically to case places who masquerade as contractors. And there is no profession that is without its problem child. I mean, the worst spy in the history of the world, I think, came from the FBI internally. So I love the FBI, so I'm certainly not jamming on contractors, but it is possible that somebody at that job site found a reason to go into that house.
something else yesterday, Steve. In my episode, before I left, I interviewed one of Nancy's neighbors who I hadn't talked to before. And she brought up something really interesting, which other people have noticed. On Nancy's front door, and a lot of the houses there have it, it's not a screen door, but it's like a security gate. You know how people have those? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's the regular door, and then it's like bars. And it has a lock, and I'm told that you have to have a key to lock it from the outside and from the inside.
Right.
And this neighbor had one too, and her theory was the guy who went to the front door, she believes there was someone else already inside the house, and that guy was coming to the front door to help that other person get Nancy out, because she just says most people there lock their security door, and there would be no way to get in. That would be very hard to break through the security gate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten through a bunch of them when I was on SWAT. You have to have special tools, crowbars, things like that, and they're very noisy. Or we had some hydraulic things that moved them out of the way, so they are substantial. But and that's possible. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but my theory on this would be that if a person can get into the house without being seen by a Ring camera, then they can get out of the house by being seen by a Ring camera. And it would tend to be kind of a goofy move when the guy says, "I'm in," and the camera's in front and I'm in without getting seen. Why would you then send somebody to the front door?
Right. And she also may not have locked the security gate. I mean, especially since it takes a key on the inside, maybe she just had it closed. Although when she went home from having dinner at her daughter's, when she was last seen, the garage, it sounds like she would go in and out through the garage because they were able to tell that the garage opened, which makes me think maybe she did have the security gate locked if she didn't even really use the front door very much.
Well, I think that if I remember correctly, her garage is on the side of her house, and so I think it would be longer to go in through go in around the house and through the front door in the heat, usually in Arizona, than it would be to go through the garage and come in that way. You'd be in the house much faster, so that may be it. The other thing is that people get complacent, and I'm not saying this as a criticism, but because I have to fight this myself. Who's gonna bother me? Who's gonna come into this neighborhood and cause me problems? So I believe that those kind of gates that I'm familiar with, they all had a
this is
normal
very interesting.
Doorknob on the inside and the outside, so you could get in and out if it wasn't locked with no problem. She may have not kept it locked all the time.
All right, guys, I want to
Alex,
introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode, Surfshark. Have you ever tried to watch a video, but it says that you can't watch it because of the country that you are in? Well, Surfshark will definitely solve that problem, and it does so much more than other VPNs. The email scam checker, it will check any email anchor. It's unlimited. Surfshark. So go to Surfshark. If it was locked, though, then why do you think? Do you think that neighbor's theory could be right? Because why else would the guy you'd be able to see the security door. Like, why would he be coming to the front?
I'd have to speculate, but first of all, if it's unlocked by a key from the inside and the outside, and you don't have a key to the outside, you don't have a key to the inside, so how's his friend gonna unlock it? That's one thing I would think of. That's
a good point. Yeah.
And so the other thing is, I remember again from SWAT, because and it's ironic how many of these things actually transfer across, because we had to get into homes at 3 a.m. at night without arousing suspicion, at least get until the point where we breached a door. And one of the things we would do is, if the bedroom was near the front door, we'd go in the back. If the bedroom was in the back, which is usual, then we'd go in the front door. So it could be that they were trying to get into a door that was farthest from where she would be sleeping. And that would indicate a lot of casing and knowledge of the inside of the home. And, you know, the only other people who can read a home very well are contractors, because they can look at the pipes coming out your roof and tell where the bathrooms are. And the bathrooms are usually right near bedrooms, so you can get an idea of where the bedrooms are.
Also, we knew that there was this January 11th date that they were asking neighbors for video from January 11th, which would have been like a couple weekends before Nancy went missing. Now neighbors are telling me that when the FBI is showing back up, they're also asking for video from January 24th, which would have been the Saturday before Nancy went missing, 8 days before on a Saturday. And one neighbor was telling me that they actually went through her cameras with her, like an agent did, to help, and was helping her and kind of, but like they were that, you know, focused on that date, like they wanted to look through it with her, and hers just showed wildlife, and you know, nothing, but you know, they were insistent on that date, January 24th now. What do you think it means, and also does it mean anything that both of these dates that they've been interested in are on weekends?
It does, and what that might tell me is that the person who was casing the place had a job during the week and could only get away from work to case the place, and be able to get enough sleep to get back to work in the morning on weekends. So it could be you're looking for somebody who has a Monday through Friday job. That's just a theory, but you know, enough theories come together, and you have a working fact, and so that, you know, that would be one thing. But obviously, the FBI has some kind of lead tip. I wouldn't think it would be a tip. You wouldn't change your interviews unless the tip was really solid. But they have some kind of lead, some kind of evidence, maybe some film that leads them to believe that the home was cased on those days, or other homes were cased on those days. And that's the other thing you have to think about. Nancy may not have been, you know, depending on what this crime turns out to be, she may not have been the primary victim. She could have been Plan B. So it could be that people were going to different houses, and I would assume the FBI is looking at residents who are similar to Nancy, single elderly woman living at home.
Yeah, and there's a lot of older people around there. Is it a bad sign, though, that they keep visiting the same neighbors? The FBI, I mean, should that lead us to believe that they're not making much progress?
I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't sound like wildly, doesn't sound like progress so strong it's hard to keep track of. Hopefully they're making some progress, and that's just going to be your litmus test for if we're doing anything right. You have to make some progress somewhere. But you know, I liken it to doing a jigsaw puzzle, and you say, oh, I've got a piece here, you know, that shows the corner of a building. So now I'm looking for other pieces with a corner of the building. And so you give up for a while, and you put that piece down, and you go, you know what, I'm going to look for corners of the building again. And so you try to start looking at other pieces of evidence. The other thing you do is you change your investigative team sometimes, investigative styles, and other people have different investigative philosophies. I will investigate different than even my closest FBI friend. They have a different way of doing it. And so some people may come in and just do it differently.
Yeah, I guess just a fresh set of eyes kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I had reported a couple weeks ago that they were using polygraphs to clear people in the case. And the sheriff was quick to come out and say, oh, that's not true. People just saw polygraphs at our building because there was, they were doing like new hires that day. But that actually wasn't that wasn't my source, that it was even coming from the sheriff's office. It was actually the FBI doing the polygraphs. And it's interesting, I noticed Megyn Kelly reported yesterday that the family members, that Nancy's family members were specifically cleared because they all passed polygraphs. I didn't have that part of the reporting. I just knew that they were clearing people in general with polygraphs, but she's reporting that it's actually the family members. Did you ever do polygraphs? Like was that something that was part of your investigations in the FBI?
I'm kind of interested.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the polygraph itself is usually only the actual test itself is, I would say, less than half of its value. It is the realization of the person who you want to polygraph that we will likely be able to tell if they're lying or not. And so that causes them at that point, especially if you come up to a family member and you used to broach it like this, you'd say, listen, my job is to catch the person who has your mother or may have harmed your mother. And the problem is, statistically, it's usually a family member. So help me eliminate you so I can get to the real work. Help me get through this as fast as possible, because it's just slowing down finding the real person who did it. Then you get 3 polygraphs in there, and you talk to them before and after the polygraph, and those interviews before and after are as important or more important than the polygraph itself.
What do you mean by that? Like the interview, why were the interviews after more important?
A person who believes that they might not pass a polygraph is going to behave differently than somebody who has nothing to do with a crime. A person who has nothing to do with a crime might be slightly, nervous about taking a polygraph, but you set them at ease, and you do all this, you do all this. A person who is afraid of being caught is going to show all sorts of psychological and even physical tells. You might see them sweating, you might see them their knees bouncing or something like this. And then in the pre-interview, you're going to go over all the questions you're going to ask. And I don't want to give away techniques or something, but you can go in and say, is there anything about this that makes you nervous? Because I see you there's some stress here. How can I make you feel better? What question bothers you? So maybe you and I can change the question so that you're not worried about it. And you can delve pretty quickly into why they're nervous. And frequently that will tell you things that are important. And you can use the opportunity to say, now listen, if I was testing the person here who was afraid they might get caught on this, I would want them to know that they have options, that they could make deals, they can do this. This isn't polygraph or die. This is let's get through this. And those are as valuable sometimes. In fact, most of the time in a criminal case, I think those are more valuable than the actual results, because the actual results are not admissible in court. The interview before and after are.
If has anyone ever failed a polygraph and then do they ever not tell them because they don't want them to know? Like then you just know, oh, maybe this person is a suspect, but you don't actually tell them that they failed?
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, absolutely true. I'm not lying. The polygraph is your tool, not theirs. And if the polygraph will work for you in a way that is helpful, that's what it's there for. It is not a defense tool. It is not a defense attorney tool, a prosecutor. It's an investigative tool. And so you will use the results of the polygraph or protect the results of the polygraph as best you can, because if they come up deceptive, it never says you're lying, but if they come up deceptive, then you may or may not want them to know that.
Do they ask normally, well, how did I do, or what happened? I mean,
They always ask. They always ask. It's kind of like doing an MRI and you say, well, did you find anything? Oh, right. We got to read it. I'm not the guy who reads, this kind of stuff. And so that's, the
That's
correct
interesting.
correct answer and a true answer. You have to read it. You have to analyze it. It doesn't just have these things where if you cross a line and it turns red and you're lying. That's cartoons. But if you you do have to read it. I think though, during the polygraph, you got an idea.
Okay. So yeah, the fact that there's now this reporting that the family passed polygraphs, that's for you a pretty good sign. I mean,
that's really interesting.
That is that reason. I mean, the sheriff came out and said the family's cleared officially. Yeah. Period. That would probably weigh. I'm sure that weighed into that decision.
If the sheriff says it, I'm not confident just because he said it. I would have to have some kind of validation because the sheriff has said things that I don't believe to be accurate. So that doesn't help me. The sheriff also would know that you never say somebody passed or failed a polygraph. It is not a pass-fail. It is a continuum between deception and non-deception, essentially, and it can go all over the place during the time. And so what you say is it's either testing, and the word may not even be deceptive, but it's in the category. They're either deceptive or inconclusive, something like that. And if somebody says if somebody tests as inconclusive, you can't say that they failed it. You can't say that we think now that they're a suspect. But one thing I wouldn't believe for sure is that they are cleared.
How does it work?
I don't know what their tests were.
How does it work? I mean, they obviously come in. When you're the agent, is it an FBI agent asking the questions?
It is, but it's a trained polygrapher, and I was not a trained polygrapher. I was trained to work with the polygraphers. And they set it up, they read it, they have much more knowledge than the average investigation, and they are very good interrogators. That is part of their training. So you wouldn't ask the questions as the agent? Would you just sit there, or? I wouldn't be in the room. So I leave the room. Okay. I would talk to the agent who was giving the polygraph, and he and I, or she and I, would meet and probably discuss these things for an hour. Go through the questions and say, this is what I want. What are you aiming at here? What are you suspecting? And we would give that person, him or her, an idea of what we were looking for as a result of this investigation. What our main questions were, what are secondary, and let him go from there. It's kind of like, I was an FBI pilot for a while. Not all agents are pilots, and you don't want agents who are not pilots in the cockpit because they know more about that part of it. And the same way with polygraphers. I wasn't a trained polygrapher, so I shouldn't get involved with that. But with the process, with the actual administration.
Yeah, you don't pass or
fail.
fail.
But the agents are involved heavily with the process.
And do they just call you after and say, okay, we just wrapped up, and they, I think, were honest or weren't honest?
They will come out sometimes post-interview to get a cup of coffee or something and say, let's talk, because I think, this person's, not all where you would like them to be.
Interesting.
And so it's, it's a very, it is so subjective. It is not an objective test. And again, it is only an investigative tool, but it can be an investigative tool that is useful in eliciting truth from somebody even after the test.
With any of the cases you worked, did anyone take the test and seem truthful, but later end up being a suspect, being someone responsible?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I had somebody who, because I believe they were a psychopath, they didn't have the same physical responses to stress, lying, or even harm to other people. It just didn't stress them out that much. It didn't, it didn't, like a guitar string, it didn't vibrate with them, and so I've had that, and then that person later confessed in the post interview, and so these things happen.
What kind of case was it?
It was a domestic terrorism case where somebody had provided material support to kill someone.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it's do you know Tracy Walder? She's on News Nation sometimes. She's a former FBI agent, but also was in the CIA.
Okay, I know several of those hybrid agents, but I don't.
You might know her if you saw her, but I interviewed her a couple weeks ago. We were talking about polygraphs, and she mentioned to me that she actually failed her polygraph to get into the CIA, and and how she went and cried, and she just didn't want to go back, and my career's ruined. And they said, no, just come back tomorrow. It'll be okay. She went back the next day and did it, and it came back fine or whatever. And I don't know what part they were asking her about or whatever, but she was just saying, she was kind of laughing about it,
it's hard to laugh on.
Yeah. Maybe she can laugh about it now. She wasn't laughing then,
Yeah, it certainly was an excellent polygrapher, because what it came up with is that she had tested as deceptive or less than truthful, and somehow the polygrapher felt that it was a false positive or deception, and it takes a very skilled person. I've seen people who I believe were absolutely honest and qualified for the FBI who failed an FBI polygraph, and it still bothers me to this day, because people would have been great agents, and I think it might have been the polygrapher's fault. But yeah, I've had problems on polygraphs because I was overseas working Al Qaeda in Pakistan and all around the world there.
That's very
I had information that could have been very damaging. So every year or two, I had to get polygraphed, and one of the questions was, have you divulged classified information to anybody who shouldn't have had it? And my problem was, there are certain paragraphs where the middle name of somebody might be classified, or a location, or if you combined this bit of information with this bit of information and a date, would that make it classified? And so I said, and I explained that to the polygrapher, and so we changed the question to, have you intentionally, with malice, intent, divulge classified information? No, not at all. And I said, are you?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know, and my mind keeps going to, whenever I go out of the country and I'm coming back through customs, and when you get asked for your passport and everything, and I have nothing to hide, I'm just coming home, I always get a little nervous, I don't even know how to explain it. I always just feel a little bit like, oh God, I'm about to get in trouble for something,
right.
You
don't even have to explain it. That's exactly what. Now imagine you come in off that plane and they hook you up to a polygraph.
Right.
And now you just jack the stress up through the roof. So polygraphers are aware of that sometimes the most innocent people have the strongest physical respiration, blood pressure. They have the strongest reactions to the questions. That doesn't mean strong deception or deception of any kind. It just might mean, and a good polygrapher will understand this, that they are very stressed out by taking the test, and sometimes innocence makes you more stressed because you say, what could I have done?
Right.
The guilty person knows exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's a good point. That makes me feel better about my always being nervous and
you should feel good about it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
And just my last question, Steve. The
that makes sense, 'cause I do the same.
Sheriff Nanos from Pima County.
I get nervous all the time.
Some rumbling, that the Board of Supervisors, and sheriffs is a powerful position. Obviously, you're elected in Arizona. No one can take you out as sheriff. But the supervisors of the county who are elected also control the budget. And there's some word, some of them are just not happy with the sheriff right now, not happy with the investigation, not happy with the public perception of what's going on. And
neither am I.
I'm just wondering,
I'm not happy with it whatsoever.
Should we give the sheriff a break right now? I mean, we're 40 some days in, and just see how things move forward, or do you think it's fair to be critical of the sheriff based on what you know of how things have gone so far?
Well, I think it's fair for every law enforcement executive, as well as the agents and the deputies and the detectives, to be held accountable for their job performance. And there are people, you know how they say in basketball, there are players who are just not made for the playoffs. They play all year just fine, but when the playoffs come, they just fold. And because they can't take the stress, or it's a level of competition above where they're capable. And while I'm not saying this is the case with Sheriff Nanos at all, it is possible that he was an acceptable, serviceable sheriff, but didn't have the necessary skills to handle an issue like this. And he might have the investigative skills, but he didn't have the liaison skills. I don't think he has effective liaison skills. He doesn't have public relations skills. And he had allegedly, but I think there's a lot of anecdotal information, a chip on his shoulder about the FBI. And by the way, I get that. The FBI put a lot of chips on people's shoulders, but let that interfere when somebody's life is on the line. And it reminds me, when you go into the executive program with the FBI, some of the first training you get is in front of people interviewing you on camera. It is not just that you are managing an investigation, because now you're managing the press, you're managing interactions with other agencies that you may not want to work with. I can tell you I've done that a few times. And so it's a holistic thing. And I think there is, regardless of where we are, we were talking the other day, a bunch of agents, and we just can't figure out why it hasn't been solved. And it's not because we think we're smarter than the agents. We just don't know what is the handicap, because there is one. If there wasn't some kind of roadblock here, they would have solved it. And I trust these agents, and I trust the teams they're on. So we're curious about what happened in the investigation. And if you look at it, some of the things that happened are interagency rivalry, at least by one agency, and a lot of public relations gaffes. And so I think when something has not worked to plan, you have to look at what mistakes were made. And there's one person where a lot of those mistakes originated.
So you think there was a roadblock in the investigation? You don't think the reason it's not solved is just because whoever did this was so good at covering, or was so lucky?
It was, I think both. I'm just saying that, it could be a combination of interagency rivalry, which stifled the free flow of information. Plus, I would say the perpetrators getting lucky because they didn't seem to be all that competent. When you show me somebody who's wearing his gun in the wrong holster in his crotch outside the pants, and he's trying to cover up a ring camera with leaves.
Yeah.
You've shown me somebody who is not Lex Luthor. So I think if they didn't get if if there's a thing that's keeping them away from finding the person, it's a combination of interagency lack of cooperation and the luck of the bad guy. And it might be luck because the kidnapping may not have been the prime reason to do this for this crime, and that may be throwing off all the investigative results so far.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, Steve.
Thank you.
As always, I really appreciate Steve for taking the time to talk with me. His insight is so interesting. He had such an amazing career.
Very interesting. Brian interviewed some very interesting people. Well, I was to drive through all the way through the night, but I think I'm gonna pull over at the Arizona border. I'm kind of tired, guys. I'm about to take a nap, guys. What do you guys think? Is that okay? Yes, Sandy, we are going back to Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. I'm getting a little sleepy. I don't know about who's better or not. Let's go! I don't think they use chloroform on Nancy. I think if they used chloroform, they would have got in and out faster. Okay. Well, if you guys are going to be nice about it, I'm going to end this. I'm going to pull over this rest stop, quarter mile up the road. Only because I'm just getting sleepy. I'm not drinking Red Bull to keep me up, so I'll start a live stream. I'm going to sleep whenever I wake up. I don't know when yet, but I'm going to just, when I get up, I will restart the live stream. So we will be back. This time I actually have a blanket and a pillow in the truck. I'll be alright. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful. Well, I want you guys to stay here though, because I'm gonna redirect you guys to my buddy. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this. I will get a good spot to sleep here in a moment. I'm just a little sleepy is all, so I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out and riding with me. I have about a 4-hour drive left. I have about 4 hours left, so when I get up, we'll do a 4-hour live stream on the way back to Tucson, Arizona. Much love, everybody. Yes, I'm gonna redirect you guys to my boy, Criminal Network, aka Alex. Let him know DGL sent ya. See y'all in the morning.